Do you guys want to do this or what? I reckon we do this. I reckon we get some Friday Night Footy action started up here. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, no, I'm thinking that. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Alright, guys, we are live. Hey, guys, how you going? So, BK Sport. We're going to get some Friday Night Footy action coming up here between a team that's fighting for first position and a team that is fighting for their desperation of survival. They are trying to survive right now, the Manly Seagulls. We've got the Raiders versus Seagulls happening in Canberra, which is potentially going to be a belter of a game, because I don't think it's an easy game to read. I think it's a really difficult one to read. But we've just finished up with that Panthers versus Newcastle Knights game where they blue-balled us like crazy. They 48 points out of the Panthers and beat them 48-12, which puts the Knights, keeps them in third last, but they're probably going to drop into second last this weekend if the Eels win and the Titans win. They go to second last. But guys, let's run through these two team lineups in the ladder before the game starts in about 4 minutes' time. We're going to absolutely smash it. So hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and welcome to Indigenous Round. Now, the Canberra Raiders, they are from Ngunnawal. Ngunnawal is the home of the Ngunnawal people in Canberra. They're in second position, whilst the Manly Seagulls are represented by the Camaragal, Gayamagal, and Garagal people. Sorry that I butchered that, but I tried my best. The Camaragal, Gayamagal, and Garagal people. And they're coming from 10th position. This is at GIO Stadium in Canberra, the home of the Ngunnawal people. Now, the NC for the Canberra Raiders, Noah Martin, with the out being Danny Levi. The fullback is KO Weeks, and the wingers are Jed Stewart and Xavier Savage. Centers are Matty Tomoko and Sebastian Chris, with the 5'8" being Ethan Strange. And the halfback, Jamal Fogarty. You go to the front row forwards, Joseph Tarpany and Josh Papali'i, with the number 9 being Tom Starling. You go to the back row, Hudson Young and Zach Hosking, with the 13 being Corey Horsburgh. The interchange, Owen Paddy, Simi Sasangi, Morgan Smithies, and Ata Mariota, with the 18 being replacement being Noel Martin, and the coach is Ricky Stewart. Canberra Raiders, they are fighting for first position. Now we go to the Manly Seagulls. Aaron Shupmeister, Caleb Navale, and Michael Cheekham are in, with Ben Trbojevic, Clayton Faulalo, and Lehigh Hopewade out. Big out there of Lehigh Hopewade, which means that Tommy Trbojevic is the fullback today, with the wingers being Jason Saab and Ruben Garrick, centres of Tolotau Quarter and Tommy Talau. Go to the 5'8", which is Lloyd Brooks, and the halfback is Daly Cherry Evans, who is the captain. Go to the props, Matty Lodge, and Siwa Takiaho, with the number 9 being Jay Simpkin, who comes in from the 14. He's now the starting 9. Back row, Corey Waddle and Michael Cheekham, with Jay Trbojevic as the 13. And then go to the interchange, Jazz Zavunga. He goes from 9 to the 14, with Aaron Shupmeister, Ethan Bullimore, and Tofofo Sipley on the interchange, with Caleb Navale as the 18th man, and the coach is Anthony Seibold. I'm going to go bold here. You guys can say what you want in the chat. They're coming out into the field right now for the Welcome to Country. You guys, I'm going to go bold. I'm going to do what I want here. I'm going to tip Manly as an upset. Yeah, I'm going to tip Manly as an upset, as the underdog. I think the Raiders are fair enough favourites. I think they are. But they did have a loss last week against the Dragons. I think Manly are very desperate for a win right now. I do know that Canberra will drop probably into third position. Oh, well, Bulldogs-Warriors is a big game, but Raiders can drop into third, so I think this is a really difficult game to predict. I just know there's a lot of upsets this season. We haven't seen an upset so far this round. I feel like if we're going to get an upset, this could be one. I feel like this could be one as Manly are really desperate. The Roosters and Dolphins play each other, so one of them is going to have 2 points taken off them. One of them is going to get 2 points. That benefits Manly. I just feel like I just get a bit of a vibe that maybe the Raiders will go through a little bit of a couple of games slide here before firing up before the finals, because they've still got a bye to come. So maybe that minor premiership isn't as guaranteed, but that would just rely upon the Raiders run home, plus also the Storm in their run home. But the Raiders do have a bye still to come this season, which is actually next week, which is huge for them. But I don't know, I just get a bit of a gut. I'm getting a gut feeling. I didn't take my gut feeling of the Broncos last night. I went with my head and said the Storm. I'm going with my gut here today. I'm doing it. You guys tell me to go with my gut more, because I usually do pretty well with my gut. Well, today I'm going to do it. Today I'm going to do it. And if I get it wrong, well, my head's probably saying the Raiders. But I'm going with my gut, and I'm saying an upset happens, and Manly do get a win here. They're doing a veil for Sam Backo, a legend of the game for the Canberra Raiders. Sam Backo was a great player. He unfortunately passed away this week, so rest in peace to Sam Backo. And that's what they're talking about right now. So I'm going to go with the upset here. Oh, maybe they might play hard. Maybe they play out for Sam Backo. I'm going with my gut. I'm not going against my gut. But I do know with my head I probably might take the Raiders. But I'm going with my gut. Tipping Manly on a 12. Now, Raiders, they're in second position, equal first with the Melbourne Storm on 36 points. They have got a points differential of plus 152. The Storm are plus 248, so about 100 better odd than them. If the Raiders win this game, they go back into first position for the week, and they will stay there. But if they lose this game, then it will come down to how much they lose by, and then how much the Bulldogs win by over the Warriors when they're on 34 points. And I just had a massive hiccup. And the points differential is plus 122. So they're 30 points behind the Raiders right now, the Bulldogs. But it depends on if the Raiders lose this game, how much they lose by. If they lose by 6 points, they go to plus 148 and 146, sorry. And the Bulldogs are plus 122, so they'd have to win by 20 or 30, which I don't think happens. But with that being said, the Bulldogs could go into second. So the Raiders, they win, they go first. If they lose, they still probably are second, but they potentially could go to third. Now, in regards to the other side of the table, which is Manly, they're in a very hot position. They're in 10th position, 24 points, equal with Sydney Roosters. They're on plus 6, Roosters are plus 20. Now, there is a team, they will jump the Roosters with a win here today. They would go equal with the Dolphins on 8th with a win, but the Dolphins have a plus 171 points differential. So the highest that they can go is into 9th position, provided the highest position they could go into is 9th, because either the Dolphins or Roosters will win. And they would just I think they would prefer the Roosters to win. It would keep them in 10th position this week between the Dolphins and Roosters. It would keep them in 10th if the Roosters win. However, it would mean that there's still just one win out of the top 8 and just hope the Dolphins lose to the Broncos next week, which I doubt happens, but it'll be interesting to see. Game's about to kick off here. So the highest they can finish is 10th. The highest they can finish is 9th if the Roosters lose. But if they lose this game, no, they're not going to drop below the Tigers. They're on 22 points. The Tigers with minus 121 points differential. It's not going to be happening. So the lowest they can finish is 10th. The highest they can finish is 9th. But a win and a Roosters win will put them equal with the Roosters and Dolphins. And they'll still be in 10th, but it'll be a better position because they'll be 2 points away from going to the top 8. But the game is kicked off. Raiders will start with the ball at 10. It's first tackle here for Canberra. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe for new round here. This is a big game. I'm going my gut. You guys begged me last night to go with my gut. It would have been wrong. Would have been wrong last night, but I went with my head. I went against you guys. And I was my own man last night. But today, I'm going with the gut as an upset. Hopefully, this is a good game coming up. But Raiders here, fit tackle, now at the 35 on their own side of the field. The Raiders have to bounce back. And so did the Manly Seagulls, but the Raiders have bounced back. They went on like 11-game win streak in a row, and then obviously lost to the Dragons last week, which was an 18-12 win to the Dragons in Win Stadium in Wollongong. Whilst Manly last week, they are coming off the back of the loss to the Roosters, which was huge. Huge 4-point game there for both those teams. A huge four-point game. And I say that because obviously one team gets the 2 points, the other team doesn't receive 2 points, so there's a 4-point swing there, if you understand what I'm saying. So third tackle now for Manly at the 35. It's not, please understand what I'm saying there. I know that really sounds stupid, but it's not. It's not. Parachips is hello everyone. Nikhil, get around you. Says, I hope it's a good game coming up. Hopefully, Nikhil. It should be. Manly here with a good set. Fit tackle at the 45 on the Raiders side of the field. So the early ascendancy is with Manly field position-wise. Shannon says, evening Raider Nation. But it says, I don't go for either team, but I have nothing else to do. Well, we kind of got that by your name there. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, you're a Panthers fan. Bizzer. But I remember we used to have someone on the channel who had a Bizzer name, but they were a Broncos fan. You're not the same person. I don't think you are. Nikhil says, big up. Dasma says, clap if you choke in the minor premiership. Yeah, Titans. We're not choking it. We're choking everybody else out as we win the minor premiership. We're choking everybody else out. That's why I clapped. Because we're choking everybody else out as the Gold Coast Titans win the minor premiership. Fit tackle there for Canberra and they'll be the 44. No, I wasn't a Broncos fan. No, so what I was trying to say was there used to be another person on here on the channel, Sebastian Chris at the 45, and their name was like a Bizzer fan page. So we assumed that they were a Panthers fan, but then they came in and said they were Broncos fans. That's why I said that. All right, so Ethan Strange will kick this ball into the corner where it's going to be Ruben Garrick, I think. No, it's Tommy Trbojevic who picks the ball up here at the 15, and it'll be first tackle for Manly. This will be the first time since round 15 that Tom Trbojevic is actually starting in the fullback too. Obviously, Lehigh Habawade started off well there. Then they've lost the last couple of games, but he got injured last week, and that's why they've had to put Tom Trbojevic back there. Taquala, he's at the 20, the 30, the 40. He's away here. He gets away from Xavier Savage. This might be a try. Kick the ball back on the inside. Tom Trbojevic is here. Also, Jason Saab. The ball's going to bounce up, and Tom Trbojevic will score. Manly go bang. Manly go bang. Manly, they take the lead 4-0, and it's about to be with a kick to come to make it 6-0 from right in front. Wowee, Taquala, look at that speed. Bulldogs fans, look away. You know that too well. Taquala down the left-hand side. Gets away from Xavier Savage, who's quite a fast player, but Taquala had his number, and then he kicks the ball in field there for Tom Trbojevic, and he's going to score straight away under the post, 4-0 with a kick to come. Like, I'm not reading that comment out. Give it a rest. I'll read it out, but like, what the hell is that comment? He said, geez, Horsburgh is an ugly ranger. No, you're ugly, Lagan. Leave it out. What are you talking about? Deary me. Deary me. He might cry because of that. He might. He may cry. Nick Hill says, I'm waiting for them to choke in the finals now. Who? The Raiders? I think the Raiders are going to be pretty solid, man. I do. Like, again, I've tipped the upset here today. I went with the underdog, and I've said Manly to win. It's a great start, and I did say Manly were in the ascendancy early. I did tip them to win this game as an upset underdog, especially considering we haven't had an upset in the round so far, and we usually see a couple of upsets, a good amount of upsets around. I think there's a shout here, as you've seen right now, but I do think the Raiders will be fine when it comes to the finals. There's still 4 games up, or 3 games after this. They've got a bye next week, but 3 games after the bye. And that kind of comes at a perfect time too if they lose this, because they can go into the bye, reshape themselves, get themselves primed up for the final 3 games, and then, rocket into the first week of finals. Is the double chance anyways. Even if they lost that, they'd get a second week at home. I don't think the Raiders are going to choke everything away in the finals. But anyone in the top 8 can win the comp this year, dude. Like, dead set. Maybe not the Broncos if Ezra Mam and Selwyn Cobler are both out for the season, and Adam Reynolds be down for the next 3 to 4 weeks. And that's on an early, thought process. They don't really know just yet, but hopefully it's only 3 to 4 weeks. So it is 6-0 to Manly, 5 minutes into the first half. Nikhil says, wow, this is what I needed to start. Yeah, great way to start. Really, really fiery way to start for Manly. Lagan Ballsack says, Max King, penalty to Manly. Jeez, Canberra. And I did say this before last week's game against the Dragons, where I did have that gut that the Dragons were going to win, and I didn't go with it, which is why I firmly said Manly today. I did say that I was waiting for them to lose. They were going to have a loss in the back end of the year, and it's about how they bounce back from it. And right now, it's only been a very short amount of time. It's only been 6 minutes, but they've already given away a penalty. They've already given away a try. Manly have been in the ascendancy with the ball in this first 6 minutes. It's not a good start to bouncing back here at home. You don't want... This is the worst time they're lucky they have a bye next week, but it is the worst time of the season if they were to go and get 2 straight losses after such a fantastic season so far, which has just exceeded so many expectations for this team. Like, I had them quite high at 9th. Most people had them for the spoon, the Canberra Raiders, which is what they do every year. I think it's just because Canberra's not usually in the big old thought process of most people. Luke Brooks at the 15, but I did say at the end of my postseason reviews last year, I did say in the postseason review that Canberra will look better into the future than a lot of people will give them credit for. So Manly at the 15, to right side, Tom Trbojevic. They give it to Tommy Talau. It pushes away from 1. He's 9 metres out of the line, fit tackle. Manly. They are asking some questions. They kick it through. It's a good little kick, and Tom Starling will be taken back in goal. Yeah. Drop out. No, that is all in one motion. Yep, Tom Starling's been taken back to the in goal, so it's going to be a drop out from Canberra to Manly. Wow, what a start for the Seagulls. What a start. They're on fire at the moment. Dasman says, no, maybe not the Broncos, even if everyone was healthy. It's true. It is true. But I don't think the Dolphins win it, but they've won games by big enough margins that show that they're, show they have it in them, but I don't think they have it in them. I do think the Sharks play some really boring footy, but they could find a way if they click. And they have won a few games in a row. Not necessarily convincingly, but they have won a few games in a row. So that's going to go 55 metres on that dropout. And Manly are going to bring this ball now to the 40 through Matt Lodge on first tackle. Tasmate says, bit like the Dogs of last year, went on a win streak, lost once, they didn't win a game for the rest of the year. That was against Manly, wasn't it? I think you lost the game against Manly like round 25, and then didn't win a game from then or something. Tom Trbojevic, left-hand side, Tolutau Kuala to Ruben Garrick, and Garrick is going to cut this to the 10. No, he gets the offload away, second tackle. Tolutau Kuala, jeez, Kuala's on fire. He gets away from a tackle, gets away from 2 tackles. He's 5 metres out. Tolutau is killing it in this. Yeah, Manly, Cowboys, Manly. Yes, round 26, round 27, and then first week of the finals. So Luke Brooks, short ball. Waddle is 9 metres away from the line. 4 tackle. I'm so glad I went with my gut. Oh, that's going to be a knock-on from Matt Lodge. Like, I am so glad that I went with my gut and knew that Manly would be up for this one. It doesn't mean that they win, but I'm glad they didn't come in and just get slaughtered from the start. So first tackle for the Canberra Raiders at the 15. I feel a penalty's coming up. Oh, there's a penalty right there. You just know. When you watch enough rugby league, you just know when a penalty's coming, and there's a penalty right there. As I was saying, it happens. Brent the 10th is back in the 90s. Raiders and Seagulls had some epic games. Yeah, a bit before my time, but it wouldn't surprise me. Manly were a very good team. Manly and Canberra were good teams in the 90s. Raiders won in 94, which was my birth year. Did they win 95 as well? Google. 1995 NRL Grand Final. No, it's Bulldogs Seagulls 95. I would say, yeah. Not Penrith fans. Bulldogs fans will be loving that. Was it 93? Was it 93? I swear Raiders won like back-to-back, didn't they? I could be wrong. No, it was the Broncos won 93. So forget me. I'm a Muppet. I'm a massive Muppet. But Raiders won 94. I know that one. All right, third tackle here at the 45. Josh Papali'i rolls it back. And now the Raiders through KO Weeks are going to be the 35-4 tackle. So 10 minutes of the first half here. Very fast first 10 minutes. And the Raiders are away here. Tomoko, he's 15 metres out. Fit tackle. 10 minutes gone. 30 minutes to go. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new around here. They give it off to Jamal Fogarty. Fogarty kicks this ball. A good kick. Oh, it's got to be a dropout. It's going to be a dropout. Jeez, that was scary stuff. That was scary stuff. Very, very scary stuff. And, ooh, there might be a knock on there from Sebastian Chris. There might be a double knock. Oh, it might have been Manly knock on first. They'll check it in the bunker, but I'm pretty certain they're just going to say it's a dropout. They won't look too long at who touched that first. So it's going to be Manly dropping it out. And Raiders will pick the ball up at the 25, first tackle. Bring back the 90s. Mate, what a time to be alive. I might have been only between the age of 0 and 6, but, geez, it was some good years. It was some good years, mate. I know you were about 70 in the 90s, but, your 70s are like your older prime, They're your older prime, your 70s. It's like you lived most of your life, and now you're just living at that point. You're waiting for the end, but the end's not coming. Ethan Strange is coming, though, and that's going to be a try. We might be on for a really good game here, ladies and gentlemen. 6-4 to Manly, but the Raiders have scored, and they've got a kick to come to make it 6-6. No, Jay, it was some of the best 6 years of my life, the 90s. Best 6 years of my life. But Canberra Raiders, Ethan Strange with a couple of juicy little steps. Cherry Evans got done over there. Cherry Evans got done over big time. He looked for Hudson Young, and then as soon as he turned his back, he was never going to make the tackle on Ethan Strange as he steps on the inside of him. And Canberra about to take it to an even game, you would assume. Bring back the Santees. Yeah, fire it up. Scott says, do you think the Broncos still make the top 8? I do think the Broncos still make the top 8, but they're going to make it nerve-wracking for themselves. Like if I was to do like a ladder predictor, which I'm not going to do right now, I don't have the time, but the Dolphins and Roosters, if the Dolphins win, they go above the Broncos, which puts them to 8th. If the Roosters win and Manly win, then, and the Dolphins are on the same amount of points as them, they're only 2 points below the Broncos. The Dolphins have a much better points differential. The Roosters and Manly, I don't know what their run home is, but Broncos-Dolphins next week, I probably would tip the Dolphins without Reno and Ezra Mam and Cobbo and whatnot, and Willison. I think that the Broncos are in a bit of trouble there, so I've got the Dolphins to win that, which would put the Broncos to 8th next week regardless. And then you've got Manly versus Tigers, where I'd be tipping Manly. So if they won this game and then won that game, they would be above the Broncos, and the Broncos would be so they wouldn't be out of the 8. But the Broncos would be equal 9th with Manly, and the Roosters, they play the Bulldogs. So probably have the Dogs to win that game. But if the Roosters know they can make the 8, that'll be a very good game between those two. So look, I think the Broncos lose the Dolphins next week. I think the Broncos versus the Knights in Newcastle is so tricky, but I'm probably going to lean with the Bronx. But it's a very tricky game there. I will take the Bronx though. I know that's not convincing. 6-6 by the way. Canberra got the kick. So I think the Broncos probably win that. So they get 2 points there. I would not be surprised in a rivalry game if the Cowboys beat them in North Queensland, even though the Cowboys are not good. But I would not be surprised with a rivalry win there for the Cows. And in the last round, it's against the Storm. They are in a lot of trouble, but I think they get there. I do. I think they get there. So 28 minutes left. It's 6-6. Good start to this game. Lorenzo says, did you see DC getting mad after he missed a tackle? No, but as soon as he turned his back, because he went for Hudson Young, and then he turned to come back out for the defense, but as soon as he turned, he wasn't able to look front ways. He had to turn around back ways. So as soon as he's back to the ball, any good half is going to be able to pick that out, especially a 5'8", with how elusive they are. And Strange just steps back into where he's turned his back. So yeah, he was never going to make the tackle after he got bit off on the Hudson Young fake. Third tackle of the Raiders at 30. Lagan says, get that up your VB long neck Cherry Evans dog. Jeez. Jeez. Cherry Evans just got slapped. I need to pop my ears. One sec. I need to pop my ears. When I have my headphones on for too long, I need to pop the ears. So fit tackle now for Canberra, and they're at the 45 through Josh Papali'i. And don't worry, it's a penalty. Penalty to the Raiders. Spartan Jones says, how many years later? Still here, brother. Get around, Spartan Jones. Fire it up. What a legend. Get around you. Logan says, get that. Oh, I'm not going to read that comment out again. Sean James says, well, that was an interesting 15 minutes. It absolutely flogged down. Are you talking about the Newcastle game? Yeah, well, the whole second half absolutely flogged down with rain. Are you so far behind, Sean, like usual, that you're still watching the Panthers versus Knights stream? Because we're on to the Raiders Manly now. There's no rain here. No rain in Canberra at all. But, you know, it might rain down at Manly's parade because Raiders are 20 metres out from the line. Horsburgh, Jamal Fogarty, KO Weeks. He's got some space. Gives it out. Matty Tomoko. Oh, gets the offload away. Try time! Canberra. Xavier Savage. And this game is on fire, dude. 10-6 to the Raiders. Manly had a very dominant 8-minute start. And then the Raiders just gone bang. And they've gone boom. They've gone boom, boom. And that's a different word usage in Thailand and the likes here in Asia, but in Canberra, they're doing some boom boom to Manly right now. Couple of boom booms in the last couple of moments, and the Raiders are going to take the lead at 10-6. KO Weeks gets around Tonta Kuala, and then he gives it off to Matty Tomoko. Tomoko backed himself in and just tried to get away, and then finally gets the offload when he knew he couldn't get there to Xavier Savage for a try on the right-hand sideline. 10-6. 10-6. Nick Hill says, I'm only going to say it once tonight, but please hit the likes and support the stream and help grow this community. Subscribe if you're new here. Mate, you can say it for sure. It's just the reason why people say that you say it a lot is because, and like, I appreciate it. I appreciate your support, bro. Don't worry. We have no problem with that. It's just, yeah, like maybe like once or twice, once a half or something like that. That would be cool, but just not like every 5 minutes is why people say something. But no, you back it in, man. I appreciate your support. Brent the 10 says, think the Dolphins are dangerous, can put a heap of points on any team. I don't know if any team is the right words to use there, because they do have it in them to score a bucket load of points. I'm never going to argue that. You know, they've scored a ridiculous amount of points this year. But also, let's go over the games where they've been scoring those points. So they beat the Warriors last week 20-18. In the last seconds, they scored that try. I wouldn't say that was a huge... Like, the Warriors are very beatable right now. Very beatable. They lost 2 games in a row, one of them being to the Titans, right? So I don't think that's a great telling sign for that. But sure, I'll give it because it's still a win. They put 40 against the top 4 team, but again, the Warriors are very beatable, not playing like a top 4... Oh, sorry, they're 5th place now, actually, the Warriors. After that win for the Panthers in the last game. They beat the Cowboys 43-24. Who cares about putting points past the Cowboys? The Cowboys are the easiest team to put points past right now. The Cowboys are the worst defensive team in the competition, statistically. And then, Rays hit the post. It will say 10-6 Canberra 15 minutes in. Then you go back to the Sharks game where they only scored 12 points and lost 24-12 to a Sharks team that was their first game of their 3-game win streak. So the Sharks weren't playing well at that point, but did keep him out quite well. Sharks are normally a good defensive team, maybe not so much this season, but they normally are a pretty good defensive team. Still think they're a top 6 defensive team off the top of my head. What are they? 424 points against them. Same as the Bronx. Worse off than the Panthers. Worse off than the Warriors. Worse off than the Bulldogs. Worse off than the Raiders. Worse off than the Storm. Worse off than the Dolphins. Worse off than definitely not this year. They're probably about 9th or 10th. Probably about 9th or equal 8th or 9th for defense this year, the Sharks. So they only scored 12 points there. And then, scored 50 points against the Rabbitohs, but, do I need to argue that one? Lost 26-20 to the Knights. Still 20 points, but the Knights scored 58 points against the Cowboys. Again, worst defensive team in the comp. Scored 56 against the Dragons. Whoop-de-doo. Did score 44 points against the Dogs, but the Dogs had all their Origin players out, and then they lost 16-12 to the Warriors. So I think there's a bit of context there behind it. I don't necessarily think the Dolphins have really proved themselves against the big dogs of the competition, but they do have points in them. So that's why I'm not going to completely go against what you're saying, but the teams that have been putting points past have been no-hopers. 4 tackle in for Canberra, and they'll be at the halfway point. 16 minutes in. And they'll give it off to Joe Tarpany, and he'll get taken down to the halfway point, fit tackle. Lager says, Blaze can't stop thinking about doing boom boom with his Vietnam missus. What? Where did that come from? Sure. I'm not going to disagree. Scott says, Lagan Ballsack's asked to be timed out. He does. Yeah, no, he really does. And, guys like Jay are very happy to do it. If Lagan is begging for a boom boom timeout, he can get a boom boom timeout, that's for sure. Timeout's coming in red hot for a bit of Lagan. So third tackle now for Manly at 35. Spartan says, in a world of the blind, the man with one eye is king. What are you saying here, Mr. Spartan Jones? What are you saying here? Simkin will bring this ball to the 40 on fit tackle, 17 minutes in. But anyway, Brett, I agree with you. The Dolphins are dangerous and they're a tricky opponent, but I don't think by any means they're going to win the comp this year. But anyone in the top 8 on their day could win the comp on the basis that everyone is beatable. F1 is beatable. So first tackle here for Canberra, and they're going to be at the 15. I feel like this game is going really fast right now. Maybe because it's been such an exciting game. But I feel like this game is going really fast. Yep, and Jay's timed him out. Yep, no, that was coming. That was coming, Lagan. You knew it was coming. Jay has timed you out, and look, I back it. A big fan of it. Third tackle here at the 35 for the Raiders. And now Starling to Hudson Young, and Hudson Young gets the offload away back to the 35, KO Weeks, and KO Weeks will be at the 48 on 4 tackle. 4 tackle at the 50, then off to Josh Papali'i, and Papali'i at the 40 on the attacking side of the field. Jay says Lagan Bullsacks was timed out by BKR Sport for 300 seconds. Well, my hands are here, mate. I don't do timeouts. I tell you, if a timeout comes and I'm doing the timeout, I'll tell you I'll do it. I will tell you I do it. I would never lie, mate. Never lie. This is a very serious channel. We've never made a joke on this channel in our entire history. So, a bit disrespectful that you would insinuate that I would joke around like that. Never would joke. Never. Very serious. Third tackle here for Manly at the 15. They've really gone into their shell since that dominating first 8 minutes. They've really fallen into their shell. Now it's 4 tackle at 25. Jay says, one second, Manly left-hand side, and he'll get taken down at the 43 on fit tackle. So don't make me take a screenshot and email it to Ballbags. We love emails here on the channel. Manly here, left-hand side. As Savage was going for the intercept, he couldn't get it though. Fit tackle for Manly. Luke Brooks kicks it through for himself. He's going to kick this ball through. That's a sin bin. That's a 1,000,000,000% a sin bin. There is a sin bin coming up for Canberra. That's going to be a bin 1,000,000,000% for Xavier Savage. You have to bin him here. You have to bin him. He has to go. He has to go. He's held back the player on the breakthrough. You have to be bidding Xavier Savage here. And you've got to say, you can't guarantee that he's going to pick the ball up, but you could have argued there would have been a penalty try there. You could argue this is a penalty try. You could make the dead set argument that could be a penalty try here. Because Luke Brooks kicks that through, there's no one back. There's a guaranteed bin here, but and he hasn't gone to the bunker, but I would have genuinely considered that for a penalty try. Oh, it's KO Weeks, not Xavier Savage. It's actually, it's KO Weeks. Yeah, so KO Weeks is going to the bin here. It's a professional foul. Oh, yeah, the commentary's saying this too. That's probably a penalty try. There's no one behind. The ball was there for Luke Brooks to be won. And, yeah, 100%. I would say that's a penalty try. I would say that should have been a penalty try. Both of them hold him back there. Both of them. Both KO Weeks is the first one to hold him back, and then Xavier Savage. No, so Mitchell wasn't wrong, bloke, in regards to the joke where this will make a great scene for his doco. Xavier Savage does do it after. It was originally KO Weeks, and then Xavier Savage also pulls him back, but the first infringement comes from KO Weeks. I would have argued there was a penalty try there, however, but they didn't go and even look at it. So second tackle for Manly, 5 minutes out. 20 minutes into the first half here, 20 minutes to go. Raiders with the man in the bin, and Manly attacking. Hit that like button and subscribe. Ethan Bullimore, he's going to be 3 metres away from the line, third tackle. Would you guys disagree with me thinking that potentially could have been a penalty try? Jake Simpkin to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks to Tom Trbojevic. Tom Trbojevic, he's going to go himself. He'll be 7 metres out from the line, 4 tackle. 7 metres from the line, 4 tackle. They give it out to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks to Takiaho, and he's going to be 10 metres out. Rays defensively haven't been exceptional this year. They're still one of the better. That's a knock-on from Manly. Knock-on from Manly, and Canberra going to get this ball at 10. Raiders are an okay defensive team. They're not the best defensive team, but they've got one of the best attacks in the competition. They're 558 points scored, which is more than the Dolphins, crazily enough, but that's with one extra game played. But 558 points is the second best attack in the competition behind the Storm at 605, whilst their defense is 406 against, which is worse than the Storm, worse than the Bulldogs, worse than the Raiders, worse than the Panthers, worse than the Dolphins, worse than Manly as well, mind you. So that's 6. So they're 7th for defense, but they also have played one extra game than the Bulldogs, the Warriors, the Panthers, and the Dolphins. So they've played one extra game than those guys, and also one extra game than Manly. Haven't played one more game than the Storm, though, so the Storm are above them in regards to defense for sure. So fifth tackle now for Canberra at the 38. Lungan says, what's the halftime score for Knights and Panthers? 26-0 to the Panthers at halftime. It was 26-0. How far out from the line was he? Probably about 10-15 metres. But in the same sense, like the two guys held him back, and Luke Brooks had a free run to the line if he gets the ball. Again, the word if is the big thing there. Second tackle if and Manly. But they didn't even look at it in the bunker. He didn't go up to the bunker, so the bunker couldn't contribute to that. So it's going to be second tackle if and Manly at the 30, and they give it off to Takiaho, who'll bring this ball out to the 40 on third tackle. Nikhil says, Dan, what happened to DCE? He just ain't the same anymore, it feels. Age always catches up to you, dude. He's 35, 36 years old. Tom Trbojevic at the left-hand side. They're finding some good movement on this left-hand wing. And fourth tackle at the halfway point. Lagan says, don't want to be disrespectful. What did or what happened to Xavier Savage to get him a doco? I don't know. Look, again, I'm not going to be disrespectful just like you, but it's a random documentary to make. I'm sure that it's a great documentary. I'm sure that he's got a story to tell. But it's also incredibly random, for sure. You know, there is a lot of players out there that would have fantastic stories. Oh, huge hit from Corey Waddle. And second tackle here for the Raiders at the 20. Jeez, he got absolutely slaughtered there. Who was that got slaughtered? Was it Jamal? It was Jamal. No, it wasn't Jamal. It was Jed Stewart. So fourth tackle here at the 35. Fourth tackle. So yeah, I personally would have gone with other stories. But with that being said, they made a documentary on the damn well Tigers when they won the Spoon. So, and the Tigers had there was nothing exciting about the Tigers at the time. There was nothing to look forward to. So it made... I thought there was a boot that fell off. There was nothing exciting about the Tigers for them to decide to make that doco. And that ball's going to go over the sideline about the 33. So it'll be Manly ball at the 33. And the same thing with Savage. It's like, it's not like you're going to get a massive viewership for that. In my opinion. Matt Burton, cough, cough. Well, sure, you get a large audience for the Bulldogs and whatnot. You get people watching that. It's like Xavier Savage hasn't really done anything with his career in the sense of how fans think. Of course, individually, he's done a fantastic work to get to the NRL and whatnot. And he is a solid player, don't get me wrong. It's just a bit random. Basically, it was a doco on Madge getting fired. Yeah, pretty much does. Pretty much. And the only reason it's well known is because of that absolute tirade that he had when he, with the Tigers in the locker room, telling them that I've got the Reggies, knocking on your door. There's so many good storylines you can make for a documentary about any NRL team, really. Most NRL teams. Now is a great time to do a Tigers documentary, but they've already done it, right? They've wasted that opportunity. Tom Trbojevic right outside. Jason Saab. Should have passed that ball back to Tom Trbojevic. That's a penalty. He'd stopped. Oh, they're going to say it's fine. Ooh, I would have said that was a penalty, Manly. Saab should have passed that ball back to Tom Trbojevic, though. He should have passed that ball back inside. Saab there. Trbojevic right there. Should have passed it to him right then. And then Trbojevic would have had inside Ruben Garrick, I think it was. No, it was... I don't even know who that was on the inside. I'm sorry, but you can't tell me that should have been fine. He's stopped in the field, and then he's ripped his leg over the sideline. That should have been a penalty, Manly, but anyway. So, Raiders are holding out here despite being down that man. Probably about 4 minutes left, I would say, of the bin for KO Weeks. Brett the 10 says injuries playing a big part late in the season, which sucks. Agree, but unfortunately that's the name of the game, man. You know, this is what happens in sport, especially in a physical contact sport like this in rugby league. And the same thing happens with NFL, as we spoke about in the last stream. You know, injuries are going to happen in physical contact sport, especially, you know, these two games. And unfortunately, yeah, it will. It will, but this is what happens. The team who wins the comp is usually the team with the least amount of injuries. And that's just the name of the game. 4 tackle at 45. And that's why I never really buy into... I'll buy into the Rabbitohs complaints. The Rabbitohs have legitimate complaints with regards to injuries. That ball offload at the back of Jamal Fogarty at the 40. And Zach Hosking now, 5th tackle at 35. I'll buy into the Rabbitohs' injuries, problems, and complaints because they've got a significant more than any other team. Like 80 more than the second. Raiders just keep kicking this ball over the sideline. I think they really want to slow this play down. So Manly will get the ball about 22 metres out from their own line. Raiders are really trying to slow this game down, especially with the men in the bin, obviously. But outside of that, I never buy into Titans' organisation criticising the amount of injuries that we've had because every single team has injuries. We're probably around the mid-area table. Tigers, actually, funnily enough, have a really low amount of injuries. Like, they've only missed like a collective 58 games or something like that compared to the Rabbitohs at 236 or so. So that's like nearly a 200 game swing between the Tigers and the Rabbitohs. And Tigers fans won't like me saying this, but you should be doing better considering. You should be. And look, I'll go as far as say the Titans should be as well. They're top 8 for injuries, but like they should be. Taj Boyvich here at the 34 tackle. Nearly got through, but they're finding some good space on that left-hand side. And now Luke Brooks to 12-4-4 Sipley. And Sipley is 5th tackle, 15 metres away from the line. 15 minutes left of the first half here, but they've still got that man advantage. Simpkin to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks kicks it way too hard. No. Immediately off the boot, you knew that was way too hard. So 7 tackle set coming up for the Raiders at the 20. That was bad. Hager said, good night, mate. If Eagles lose tonight, will they still have a chance? Yes and no. Yes and no. I will say, yeah, like they do, but they're not going to. Because then they would be potentially 4 points out of the 8 if the Dolphins beat the Roosters. They would really want the Roosters to win against the Dolphins tomorrow. So that they're only 2 points out of the 8 still. And then their chances there. But if the Dolphins win, it's pretty much game over for the Roosters and Manly, in my opinion. If Manly win and the Dolphins win, they're still on with a chance. But if Manly lose and the Dolphins beat the Roosters, I've got the top 8 locked up. A lot of positions will change in the top 8, but I don't see Roosters or Manly making it if the Roosters lose tomorrow and also Manly lose today. Hunter Honeywood Parada says Manly suck, they're out. Oh, not yet. 4 tackle now at the 30. They do have a really tough run home, though. Inclusive of the last, 3 weeks. They played Storm, then they had the Bulldogs last week. They got the Raiders this week, so the top 3 teams they've had in 3 consecutive weeks, which is what the Panthers are about to go through next week. So Ethan Strange to Hudson Young, 5th tackle here. 5th tackle here. He'll flick the ball out the back. That's going to be 6. No, knock on Raiders. Knock on Raiders. It was going to be 6 again, but it's a knock on Raiders. Logan says Tiger Town spray is an all-time. It is an all-time. It is absolutely an all-time. Absolutely. All right, that was a nice offload there from Hudson Young. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, but it was a nice offload. So first tackle here for Manly at the 15. Tommy Talau with the ball. KO Weeks, only a minute left in the bin. Do you think that was a harsh call against... Garrick's still going at the 30. Do you think there was a harsh call during this bin against Manly? But outside of that, the Rays have been good defensively when Manly have gotten into a relative attacking area. Saab nearly over the sideline and nearly drops the ball, but he'll be at the 40 on third tackle. Yeah, if he had been in a better position there, Saab, he might have actually been away. And now Torfo Sipley at the 43 on 4 tackle. K. Weeks is about to come back on the field. Jay Trbojevic out to Luke Brooks. This is where they've been finding good space. And Trbojevic gets away from a couple tackles. He's at the 45. He flicks it to the grass. Knock on from the Raiders. So it's going to be 6 again here for Manly at the 45. They'll get KO Weeks back here, Canberra, but this will be a 6 again. This will be a 6 again. In a good area. Great area. What are you on? We got 91 people watching, 15 likes. Come on, let's get to 25 likes before half time. Smash it. Let's get to 25 likes before half time. 11 minutes to go. Hadahoni says, bro, they should have went to the wing. Is Jazz playing? Jazz is actually on the bench. He was meant to be the starting 9, but he went to the bench as the 14, and Jake Simpkins is starting, which I don't really understand. I would have definitely started Jazz Tavanga. I think he's been solid for Manly this year, and I think that definitely they should have been going with 9 for Jazz, but yeah, they switched it out. So first tackle for Manly, now 6 again for Manly, and Simpkins going to be at 18. To be fair, Simpkins actually started off pretty well here though. First tackle for Manly, KO Weeks back onto the field, but Manly are in the attack. Cherry Evans out to, oh jeez, Tommy Talau just holds on to the ball, second tackle at 13. Lags is just announcing that I did like the video. Thank you, Lag, for saying the first nice thing you've ever said in the history of BKR Sport. Third tackle, 4 metres out, 10 minutes to go the first half. Thumbs up, subscribe. Jake Simpkin, he goes out to Cherry Evans at the 10. He'll give it to Luke Brooks. Brooks here to Trbojevic, out to Garrett, kicks it through, and that's going to be a dropout from the Raiders to Manly. KO Weeks gets back on the field, and he prevents a try there. But it will be a dropout from the Raiders. To Manly. Good game here, though. This is a really solid game right now. Really solid game. Very close. Manly went out to a 6-0 lead, and the Raiders came back and made it 10-6 within a couple of instances. There's already been 3 dropouts in this game, too. Jamal Fogarty, which means that both teams have been in attacking areas. All right, Luke Brooks. He'll get out to Tofofo Sipley. Strong run to the 30, but then gets whacked back to the 35 by Corey Horsburgh. Very good tackle. Nikhil says, finally Manly woke back up. I'm tired of watching one team roll another lately. Yeah, we're still seeing a lot of upsets, but this weekend you'll see Ethan Baltimore with a huge run here to the 10. Second tackle, massive run. Arguably a 6 again there. KO Weeks was holding him back. Luke Brooks to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans steps onto the inside himself. 6 again, even Manly, 5 metres out. All right, Manly, let's see what you got. Baby. Manly did go to sleep for a little bit in this game, but they're only down by 4. Luke Brooks goes himself 4 metres away. Second tackle, 9 minutes to go the first half. And penalty here to Manly. They're not going to go for the 2, but it will be a penalty to Manly, so they'll get a fresh set 10 metres out. I'm enjoying this game, though. Much more than the last one. They're just not that great on the old attack, Manly. They've scored, 406 points this year, which is worse off than everyone in the top 8. Worse than the Storm, Raiders, Bulldogs, Warriors, Panthers, Broncos, Sharks, Dolphins, Roosters, Dragons in 12th, Cowboys in 13th, and not too far away from the Titans in 16th, so wow. Left-hand side, Luke Brooks at the 10. Manly's attack has really been faltering this year. Second tackle at the 5, they're probably about 12th off the top of my head for attack. Territory, 66% for Manly, 34% for the Raiders. Raiders are more so known as a second half team outside of last week. They're more so known as a second half team. Third tackle now, 10 metres out. Bullimore rolls it back. They go to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans out the back to Tom Trbojevic. Tom Trbojevic inside. Chance here, Tommy Talau! That's great defence. 2 metres out, 4 tackle. That's 6 again. Wow, they haven't called 6 again? Crazy. Trbojevic, Luke Brooks inside. Jeez, this is good defence from Canberra. This is really good defense from Canberra. Jake Simpkin, Cherry Evans, kicks it through. Will it sit up? It's going to be too hard again. Their kicking game inside the attack at 20 has not been good enough, and it's going to be a 7-tackle set for Canberra at the 20. Brent, the 10 says, outstanding commentary, bro. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much, Brent. Nikhil says, Manly has great attackers. It makes no sense. Agree, but attack will always come down to your halves. And Cherry Evans is 35 going on 36, or he might even be 36. But he's definitely gotten on now, and he's gone past the hump, in my opinion. And Luke Brooks is solid, but he's not going to be able to lead a team around. So it's like Manly are in a bit of trouble. They've got Jamal Fogarty coming in next year. Don't know if that answers their problems, but we'll see how Fogs goes at the Manly Sea Eagles. They're in a bit of an issue in regards to their spine. They don't know if they want Tom Trbojevic as their fullback or Lehigh Bawade. 6 again for Canberra at the 45, and Tom Starling will be 35 metres out on first tackle. They don't know what they want to do going forward and how their halves situation is long-term, in my opinion, and that's where your attack is going to struggle. Their 9 is okay in Jazz Tavanga and Jake Simpkin, but it's nothing spectacular. And then, like I said, the fullback issues are going to haunt them for a little bit as well. So, they've got some good fullbacks at the very least. because I do like Lehigh, and I still would have Tom in the centres, but obviously Lehigh's injured right now, and I don't think Seabold can coach. I really don't think so. I've said this from the start, though. Raiders go left-hand side. Tom Starling, Ethan Strange. Oh, he's going to be held up. He's going to be held up over the line. Held up over the line, Ethan Strange. Yeah, Ethan Strange is giving Cherry Evans nightmares. Agree with the commentary there. Fit tackle for the Raiders, 10 metres away. 6 minutes to go the first half. And now Tom Starling, he'll fake it left. He goes out to the right. Jamal Fogarty, good kick in a good area. Knock on from the Raiders. It's going to be a 7-tackle set for Manly at the 20. Nikhil says they need to find the next DCE ASAP or they're in ruins, it looks. Well, again, they've got Jamal Fogarty coming in next year. So he's a good halfback. He's playing some really good footy for the Canberra Raiders. Don't know if he suits Manly. Don't know if he's the kind of guy they need. But with that being said, he has been good at the Canberra Raiders. He was fine at the Titans. You'd expect him to come in and be solid, but I just don't know if he has the X factor that Cherry Evans has had over the years. And Luke Brooks isn't really the X factor 5'8" necessarily, so they're not really X factor halves at Manly going forward. So they're in a bit of a worrying situation, but they have gone for a primetime halfback as we currently speak. It just comes down if he fits into their system. 12-4-4 Sipley is claiming a high tackle here. He's down at the 42. He's faking this. I'm sure there might have been some high contact for him to do this, but he's looking at the referee saying, like, he's slowing it down for it. That's shoulder contact from Hudson Young to the head. Or, no, they're going to call this as a penalty. Tom Starling has unfortunately, his hand has gone into the eye. It's not deliberate, but it is going to be classed as high contact. This will be a penalty. What? Okay. Well, they're just going to say this is just play on. I know it was accidental, but they do always call that as high contact. Fair. Okay. Jack Whiten got suspended for, 3 weeks or 4 weeks for accidental head contact and was binned in the game, but yet we're not going to see that be called as anything. Brent says, is Metcalf up for grabs next year? I don't think the Warriors will let Metcalf go, but... I don't know what his contract is. I don't know when his contract is up. All right, so Cherry Evans puts that ball up. Good area, good chase from Manly. 2, Tom Trbojevic, Kale Weeks has touched that. Manly here, chance, and they're going to be 5 metres out. They've got 6 more tackles in the attack. You've been down here plenty, Manly. You have to be clinical, though. Raiders' defense has been good, but Ethan Bullimore, I think he scored. No, he's short. Ethan Bullimore just short. Again, good defense from Canberra. Jake Simpkin out the back to Jazz Tavunga. And Jazz Tavunga's just going to try and crash over. He's 2 metres out from the line, 3rd tackle. Michael Paulson's got the Knights. Yeah, the Knights aren't playing right now, mate. They got slapped in the last game. Short ball here to Cheekham. And Cheekham's going to be half a metre short. Half a metre short here. 4th tackle. 4 minutes left of the first half. Simpkin out to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans short ball to Corey Waddle. And 9 metres out. Fit tackle. Fit tackle. Back to Simpkin. Simpkin to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans kicks it through! Has there been a play taken out without the ball here? So Savage has had a foot over the dead ball line, so it's going to be a dropout. Was there a player taken out here? No, it's going to be okay. They're just going to go over the dropout. I thought there was a player maybe held back. No, it was Jamal. Jamal knows what he's doing, but no, it's just going to be a dropout here. Hudahoni says Warriors need Jet Cleary. He's very young, though. Very young and fresh. Very green. So drop out here from the Raiders. I think the Warriors are in a situation. So that's a 58-metre dropout there. And Manly now through Ethan Bullimore. He's going to bring it. He's been solid today. He'll bring it to the 35. I would have loved the Titans to sign Ethan Bullimore. I think he's a really good player. I didn't believe in him early on in the years. I didn't think he was that great when he was in the Bronx and then came across early doors to Manly. But I do think he's a very, very strong forward at Manly. And I think they did a really good job re-signing him. So Luke Brooks at the 25, then to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans to Tom Trbojevic. Tom Trbojevic goes himself. He's going to be 5 metres out from the line, 3rd tackle. I don't think the Warriors right now are in a situation where they can trial out young halfback with being a top 14 for the most part of the year. I know they're 5th place now, but I don't think they're in that situation to take risks at the moment. 4th tackle here, 4 metres away. Simpkin out to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans at the 10. He'll get to Luke Brooks. Flicks it off quickly. Knock on Manly. Yeah, I agree with the comment. I'll raise her away here. No, knock on. Manly have got to be super frustrated. This has been very good defense from Canberra tonight. Very good defense. Like, Manly have thrown a lot at them. They're finding good movement down that left-hand wing, but they just can't seem to put it over the line. And they've been down here a lot. That was a great ball from Luke Brooks, but a knock-on from Manly. They got Joe Walsh in the system. Who's got Joe Walsh in the system, Taz? Hottie says DC needs to kick. Sure, but we have seen multiple kicks from Manly so far go dead over for a 7-tackle set for the Raiders. So it's like, sure, but Manly's kicking game hasn't been prime time so far. Oh, Manly. Okay, fair enough. The Manly kicking game hasn't been good in the attack in 20. Third tackle. I didn't mind what Manly were doing just then. It's just unfortunate they had to play really quick passes that ultimately Jason Saab knocked on. Lagan says Manly developing Joey Walsh as the future halfback. Okay, so that must be post-Jamal. How long is Jamal signed for? Fit tackle for 1 minute of the first half for the Canberra Raiders at the 42. It's been a really enjoyable first half here. Tom Starling to Jamal Fogarty. He goes for a 2-point field goal, and he is going to give away a 7-tackle set. Don't agree with that. Don't agree with that, but it probably won't hurt them too much in the 7-tackle set because there's only 45 seconds left, and Manly have to get back at the 20. So, look, I think it's okay, but he was nowhere close to hitting the 2-point field goal. 2 years, I think. How old is Jamal now? Like 33? Jamal Fogarty age. 31. It'll be 32 this year. 32 this year, so... Okay. Oh, they've gone for a 20-40, and it's not going to do it. So it's just going to be Canberra ball at the 40... Oh, wait, was it a penalty? Did Manly just get a penalty? What just happened just then? Can someone tell me what just happened? Because it was a 7-tackle set at the 20. They kicked the ball to the 50, like 48 metres out from the Raiders line. I actually don't understand how Manly got that just then. What happened? Sherry Evans to Ethan Bullimore. And they're going to be 8 seconds away from the end of the first half. I don't actually understand what just happened. 4 seconds left. I don't know if are they going to go for a 2-point field goal. They are. And it's not going to even be close. So, end of the first half. The enjoyable first half. Don't even know how Manly got that ball just then in that area. But either way, the halftime score will be 10-6. Manly went off to a rocketing start and led 6-0 in the first 2 minutes, but the Raiders then scored 2 very quick tries, and then we haven't seen a score in the last 30 minutes of gameplay. It's been a real grind, and this is what you're going to get. You are going to get that from this kind of game, where the Canberra Raiders are fighting for their spot on the top of the ladder. If they lose this game, they have a potential of going into third position. They have a potential of dropping below the Bulldogs into third position. I actually have to update this ladder at halftime too, and then we'll get into the stats. Obviously, guys, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Just give me one moment here as I will update the ladder, and the Panthers are going to go into the top 4 for the time being. Sorry, Warriors fans, you aren't going to like this. You're not going to like this here, Penny Panthers fans. You are not going to like this. Save that. Move that bad boy across. And we're going to add this on here. So, and then we're going to have to take off the fraud alert and move it around a little bit. Okay, so Bulldogs, you're absolutely on fraud alert. And then Warriors, you're dead set on fraud alert. Broncos, you're the biggest frauds that ever did Fraudster. Roosters, you're not getting away from Jack. And Manly, if Manly won today, they would come off of... Oh, would they come off fraud alert? No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't because they're still not in the top 8, so they'd have to still stay on fraud alert, even with a win here today. But there you go. I've updated the ladder, and the Warriors, the first time pretty much all season, the Warriors will be out of the top 4. Crazy, crazy scenes. But all right, let's get into some stats here for the Friday night game. The 2 tries for the Raiders have come through Ethan Strange and Xavier Savage, whilst the try for Manly was Tom Trbojevic in the first couple of minutes of the game. Now, stats-wise, 55% possession for Manly, 45% possession for the Canberra Raiders. So, look, you would expect Manly to be in the lead, especially with all their ball in the attack in 20. You would have, especially with the possession being in their favour by a good 10%. That's a bit of a rough stat there for them still losing this game. Time of possession is 14 minutes and 35 seconds for Manly, 12 minutes and 19 seconds for the Canberra Raiders, so close enough there, but about 2 minutes and 16 seconds separation. Now, completion rate, you obviously aim for 80% as the marker. The Raiders are at 88% at 15 from 17, so that's a very good completion rate, whilst Manly are at 80% from 17 from 21, so they're not complaining with that one either. Both teams are completing at a very solid rate here that neither is going to be complaining about. Attacking-wise, the runs, 83 runs for the Raiders for 676 metres, so they're well under the 10 metres on average per run for Canberra, whilst Manly are at 98 for 813 run metres, so they're also well under the average of 10 metres per run. But if you want to try and give a metric of 10 metres on average per run for the Raiders with an equal amount of ball, that's 15 runs, 10 metres per run, 150 metres, that goes to 776, that goes to 826, so they're up by about 13 metres on Manly if they had the same amount of ball. But again, both teams are under the 10 metres per run on average metric, so it's a bit of a loosey-goosey stat line there. But the point is that the Raiders aren't too far off Manly with the same amount of ball. It's a pretty even stat line there, but on its actual pure numbers right here, the Raiders are well behind by about 140 odd. Now, post-contact meters, this is a telling sign. Raiders 231 to Manly 217. So the Raiders with 15 less runs, 98 to 83, have got 14 more post-contact meters. So the Raiders are demolishing Manly with post-contact, demolishing with their forwards in the post-contact. Line breaks is 3-2 Canberra way. Tackle breaks is 21-20 Manly way. So a very similar amount of missed tackles. It's a very close game here. And this is going to tell you as well, average set distance, anything under 25, you turn the stream off. 25 to 30 is disgusting. You wouldn't have split it. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is average, hitting the marker, what you would expect. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is perfect. Incredible first half. The Raiders are at an extremely high rate in the average category, the hitting the marker of 39.81. They are very close to the great category, only 0.19 metres away from an average set distance in the great category of 40 plus. So 39.81, nothing to scoff at. And then Manly are at 39.13. So they're only off each other by about 0.70 or so, 0.60, 0.70. Same amount of metres being made each set. 39.81 to 39.13. Now, in regards to play the ball speed, 3.36 seconds for the Raiders, 3.46 seconds for Manly. So that's getting into the fast area for the Raiders. Anything under 3.39 is definitely fast. Anything under 3.20 is just spectacularly fast. 3.4 to 3.6 is average, and then 3.61 and above is slow. 3.90 and above is just crazy slow, which you haven't seen a couple of times this year. So yeah, Manly are on the average area there, and Raiders are getting to a pretty fast play the ball. Offloads is 9-1 Canberra, so Manly are not wrapping this ball up. They are allowing Canberra to get offloads galore every 2 seconds, which is not a great sign for them. And then we go down to the kicking game where forced dropouts is 3-1 Manly. So again, that's showing you that Manly are in the attack in 20 quite a lot. They are down there quite frequently, but they're just not scoring with it. And the kick defusal here for the Raiders is at a putrid 0%, whilst Manly are at 75%. So, you know, it's just showing that Manly are getting into good areas and are getting some good ball, but they're just not doing anything with it. Now you go to the effective tackle percentage. Anything under 85% is disgusting, pathetic. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is the average hitting the marker. 90% and above is a fantastic first half. It's perfect, basically. Now, the Canberra Raiders are at 88.32%. So that is on the lower end of hitting the marker, but at the very least, they are hitting 88%. They are hitting the marker there. 174 tackles made for 21 missed tackles, and very much limiting the ineffective tackles at 2. So they've only got 23 bad tackles through 174 tackles made. That's a solid enough stat line there. Yes, the missed tackles is quite high. The average is 15 to 17 in the first half. 15 to 17 in a half, and they're at 21, so they are missing quite a few tackles in this game, but luckily for them, they're really limiting the ineffective, so only 23 bad tackles. And then for Manly, they're at 84.65%, so they're in the disgusting category. They are missing a bucket load of tackles, a bucket load of ineffective, and then also they haven't had to make too many tackles because they're the ones with the ball for the majority. So 84.65% is just simply not good enough there from Manly. 171 tackles made, 20 missed tackles, and 11 ineffective. So again, same amount of tackles made pretty much of 174 for 171. Same amount of missed tackles pretty much at 21 and 20. Manly have actually missed less tackles, but where the Canberra Raiders are bumping up that effective tackle percentage are limiting the ineffective of just the 2 ineffective compared to Manly's 11. So 23 bad tackles for the Raiders, 31 bad tackles for Manly. tells you a lot and shows you how solid the Raiders defense is for the most part, despite the fact they are still missing a few tackles. Now, negative play is 4-4. This is actually really good for both these teams. Anything 4 and under is a very good half of footy in regards to limiting the errors. They're both at 4, so that's not really too much of a problem there. Penalties conceded is 3-2 against the Raiders. That's bumping up there a little bit, though, for a half of footy. Not as bad as that Storm Eels game last week, but it's bumping up there with 3-2. Ruck infringements is 1-1. Inside 10 metres is 1-0 Raiders. And sin bins is obviously 1-0 Raiders. So, look, in this game, anyone can still win it. It's a very close game. Manly are still well and truly within range here. I don't know how to call this. I really don't. The Raiders' defense has been superb today. The Raiders' defense has been spectacular. So even though my gut feeling before the game was that Manly might get an upset, and they definitely still may get an upset, this possession will probably equal out to about 50-50. And if that's the case, Canberra probably score a couple more here and do take a bit more of a convincing lead. But I think Manly will hang around because this is their season on the line nearly. It's their season on the line. If Manly lose this game, they'll stay in 10th position. If the Dolphins win, then they'll go to 28 points. The Broncos will probably drop down to 8th with the Sharks beating the Dragons if they do. But all those teams will be 4 points above them at the very least, right? So that would mean that the Roosters and Manly, for me, are done for the season if we do see that this week. But that is the halftime stats. Let me know in the chat right damn well now who you think will come out winning this game based off of what you've seen so far and the stats I've just told you. Let me know in the chat what you think, if Canberra do keep up this defense into the second half, or if Manly are just going to be too focused on obviously getting themselves out of trouble and putting themselves into the top 8. It's a difficult one to call here. It was a difficult one to call before the game, and this game has lived up to it being difficult. Yeah. So, it's going to be very interesting here at halftime. But I'm going to quickly run up here to the bathroom, actually. I'm going to quickly run up to the bathroom here at halftime, guys, because I didn't really get a break at any stage. So I'm going to jump off just quickly. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. I'll be back in just a few momentos. Alright, we're back. We're back. There we go. Let's sort this out. Still half time here. Still half time. Oh, move that bad boy up. Get comfortable again. Hopefully this second half is as good as that first one. Hopefully this second half is as good as this first one. I cannot see anything in the chat right now. I cannot see literally anything in the chat. It is completely blank for me at the moment. I have to refresh this. Hold on 1 second. Let's do this. Okay, there we go. Now it's back up. Yeah, look, I think that Canberra right now are really Jason's you blind. Well, nothing. I couldn't see anything. It would literally maybe because I turned the thing off. It had like internet disabled, connection thingo disabled. So I was freaking out for a second that maybe the stream wasn't even going. But it had one. It had like the grey screen. Sometimes we get that and we have to click refresh. So that's what happened. But yeah. What I was saying was that. Right now, Canberra is slipping. Like Canberra are slipping. With that being said, though, their defense has been really good in this first half. But I just feel like they didn't really do anything on the like. They did obviously score those 2 tries, but they did score those 2 tries. But Canberra have been really kind of taken away their dominating feeling that they had for a very long time in this season. Lagan says Chase so dead. Yeah, sometimes it gets that way, man. Like Canberra and Manly. They don't usually pull a great deal. Like Canberra obviously has a big fan base, but they're not very active, like online in general. You find that, like, if a Bulldogs game is on, you'll always find there's a large amount. You wouldn't have found that a couple of years ago. But like Canberra's a team that even when they're going well, yeah, you'll see more people at the stadium, but Canberra have never really had a massive active influence in the online space. Manly are okay with it. Nothing crazy out of this world. Titans have enough. We pull above our weight considering how much of a limited fan base that we do have. Warriors are obviously going to have a huge one regardless. Cowboys are pretty low on that scale. Broncos are usually pretty massive. Roosters is 50-50. Rabbitohs is 50-50 depending on how they're going. Storm is non-existent for the most part. There's a few to kick around, but they're not really an active online presence. Eels is pretty solid for an online presence. Too bad they don't get it at a game day on the game days at their stadium. Penrith have only kind of come into the frame the last couple of years. Tigers are actually pretty good. Tigers do get around and whatnot. And then obviously the Dolphins are too new. The Knights are another team that you don't really kind of see a great deal of online. They literally didn't go to Magic Round. Was it last year? Last year, the year before that, the Knights weren't actually... No, not last year, the year before that, because we played the Knights last year. Got robbed. Brian Kelly scored that. But the year before that, the Knights didn't play because of their social media and online influence. The NRL said the least interaction came from Newcastle, so that's why they didn't get to play Magic Round 2 years ago. Dasmate says, don't even know where Canberra is on a map. Well, I can tell you that Canberra is in between. No, I don't know. No, I'm not too sure. But if you do drive on the road down there, you'll see about 1 million animals on the highway. It's crazy. Like when you drive from Gold Coast to Sydney or Gold Coast to Newcastle, which I've obviously done many times with what I do here, but when you drive from Gold Coast to Newcastle or Sydney, you don't really see any animals on the road whatsoever. But if you drive from Canberra to Sydney or Sydney to Canberra, the amount of animals on the road is actually crazy. It's actually crazy. Canberra, the Gronk state, Jay says. It's actually wild. You guys would know what I'm talking about. If you've driven on the highway between Canberra and Sydney, it's ridiculous. You see dead animals everywhere on the road. Why is it, and I ask this to people who might have an idea, why is it you see so many dead animals there, but you don't see any dead animals up on the northern New South Wales area going towards Queensland? I really don't understand. I'm not too. I really don't understand. It surprises me. But the second half is about to start here, guys. The Raiders will kick this ball off, and it's going to be Manly getting the ball at the 5, give it off to for Sipley, who brings it out to the 15. He's been influential all night. First tackle here for the Canberra Raiders. For Manly, sorry. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. Vancouver Tropica says, Summon Nats Daz, you haven't lived unless you've seen the Bogans there. Now, Daz, mate, he's got a mullet. You know, so if he hasn't seen it, there's a problem. Daz, mate, he's got a big old mullet, that bloke. Ball Collector says, who do you support for the Titans? Surely you didn't start watching in 2007. I've been watching since I was born, mate. So I was living in Brisbane since I was 2 weeks old. Mum and Dad moved up from Sydney when I was 2 weeks old. And Mum's a Sharks fan, Dad's a Manly fan, even though he's not from Manly. Really confusing, but he fell in love with a girl there one time. She was 20 years older than him when he was younger. It wasn't a thing with her, but for him, he had a crush on this girl from Manly. Had a beautiful house looking over the water and whatnot, and became a Manly fan because of that. Because he actually was from Balmain area. He should have been a Tigers fan like his mum. But yeah, so I would have become a Broncos fan living in Brisbane from when I was 2 weeks old until I was 12. But then the Titans came at the perfect time. We moved to the Gold Coast and Raiders knocked the ball on. Manly got the ball to hit the 40. First tackle for Manly at the 40. Zero tackle for Manly at the 40. on the Raiders side of the field. They started hot in the first half. Let's see if they can start hot in the second half here, the Sea Eagles. So, yeah, I would have been a Broncos fan. I didn't mind the Sharkies. I was born in Cogra, so I could have been a Dragons fan. But, no, I went to a Titans game and, found myself, and here I am. Nick Hill says, my mum lives in Canberra. Last time I was there, it was great. There was no traffic. Yeah, there's not really much traffic in Canberra. 6 again for Manly. 15 metres out from the line. First tackle. Daz is the Aussie version of Joe Dirt. No, Daz actually is Joe Dirt. No, they based that movie on his life. They literally based that movie on his life. Fact. Second tackle for Manly. 10 metres out. They've been down in plenty today, though. Can they actually put the ball over the line, though? Cherry Evans. He'll give it to Corey Waddle. And it's third tackle, 5 metres out from the line. They roll it to Jake Simpkins. Simpkins to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks to Tom Trbojevic at the 15. Tom Trbojevic goes at himself. And good defence again from Canberra. 4 tackle, 3 metres away. I will say I don't mind Manly's attacking plays. It's just Canberra's defence today has been really good. It's been really solid on a collective level. Now, fit tackle, Jazz Tavanga at the 5. Can Manly get some form of a kicking game away here? Jake Simpkin to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks doesn't kick it. Tom Trbojevic, and he's going to be taken on the sideline. That didn't make sense. I didn't appreciate that one from Manly. That didn't look good at all. Really confused by that one. I'm going to read this out, but I'm going to change the word. Chalky says, is it a more windy, bendy drive down south? Maybe more bends on the road mean more dead animals? Yeah, probably, actually. Probably, I would say the highway's a bit more... Yeah, no, you're probably right. Yeah, the highway is definitely a lot more like that than... Oh, there's going to be a HIA here for... Who's the HIA for? I know there's a play coming back. I don't know what the referee was saying there. He was saying... there's a play coming back on maybe from a HIA. Maybe. I would say that the road to Canberra is definitely a lot more windy than most of the straight road that you'll probably find from the Gold Coast and Newcastle. Yeah, sure. Lagan says there are just more kangaroos in the south. But it's not about kangaroos being dead on the side of the road. It's like there's all kinds of animals. Like all kinds, not just kangaroos. Like obviously between Canberra and Sydney, you would say there is more pure just bushland comparatively to the highway. There is a lot of bushland though in the north of New South Wales. I don't know. It's just that I know that when I've gone from Canberra to Sydney on a drive, there was a lot of animals. But when I've gone from Gold Coast to Newcastle or Newcastle to Gold Coast, there just is jack shit. So fit tackle, maybe it's the highway is different. I don't know. So Manly now at the 8. But you guys down there should know more than me. I'm a Queenslander. Tom Trbojevic will get this ball to the 30 on first tackle. I had to Google who that was. Joe Dirt. Daz, they based that movie off of your life, mate. So first tackle. Now second. Ruben Garrick brings it to the 35. Vancouver Tropico says Canberra's defense is unmatched. In this game, yeah. Overall this season, their defense has been okay. Nothing out of this world. A lot of teams have been better than them. But their attack this year has been spectacular. Their second best attack in the comp. That's what's really got them to where they are. Not that their attack is necessarily flowing as we currently speak. Sean James, there is a few legends in this chat. That is what makes it. Yeah, that's why, like, my screen had the internet connection disabled or whatever at halftime over there. But then when I came back, I saw that there was no one really chatting anyway. So it's really difficult when... One second. Fit tackle for Manly at the 20. Cherry Evans kicks that ball to the corner. And it's going to be allowed to bounce here. What are you doing, Canberra? It's going to end up being a dropout here. I don't know why they would let that bounce. So a dropout from Raiders to Manly. I feel for people who are trying to start creating live streams and try and do commentary and whatnot, it's very difficult if you don't have like a flowing chat to bounce off. And that's what makes it here. Like, sure, I can commentate, but especially at halftime, when you read through the stats, you go through the stats, you've given your opinion on the first half and all that, and then if no one's kind of chatting to bounce off, you kind of have nothing to talk about. So it gets really difficult. So if you're starting up with a new channel or content, I can see why people would lose passion quite quickly for doing live stream commentary and whatnot, because if you don't have people actively getting involved, it does get long, bro. Especially in like bad games, like in the last game. If you don't have a chat that's really actively involved, fuck, it's a long game, dude. It's a long game, which we've had like 4 or 5 years ago and stuff like that. We don't really have that anymore. Second tackle now for Manly at the 10. Sean says there is Lagan says it's just one of those unexplained conspiracies. Maybe Jay's all over it. So it's going to be third tackle now for Manly, and they're 10 metres away from the line. Dazza says Marbella was born in 2023. We know you're a Panthers fan. We know. So third tackle, Simpkin to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans now underneath to Corey Waddle, and Waddle will be 8 metres out from the line. And now Ethan Baltimore, he's been good today. He deserves a try. But again, Canberra's defence will come up clutch and he'll be half a metre short. Fit tackle. Fit tackle. They roll it back here to Simpkin. Simpkin to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks to Tolotau Qualis. Fit tackle. He's going to score. He's going to score. He's going to score. Tolotau Qualis. Tolotau. Tolotau Qualis. Tolotau. Tolotau Qualis. That's his double for the game. No, he didn't. Got the first one. He got the breakaway to give that ball to Tom Trbojevic. But he's been very good tonight, Tolotau Koala. He had a try assist for Tom Trbojevic, and now he scored a try. So Manly 10-10 with the kit to come, and probably will take the lead here because it's right next to the post. Game on, baby. Manly fighting for their lives. Fighting for their absolute lives right now. Because they need a win here today in that top 8 battle. They are desperate in that top 8 battle. Sean says at halftime, everyone is listening to the way you give the stats. No, I know. No. Again, like I'm able to keep on talking and whatnot. I'm able to do it. Maybe this one I went to the bathroom and came back and then the internet connection disabled thing or whatever over there. But like I'm able to do it. But I feel for you really need to have passion for content and creating if you are starting out a new channel, trying to do what we do here. Because if it is slow, you don't have anyone to talk to. And although I can do it, I know a lot of people who have tried, and it's very, very long and slow if you don't have that interaction. So it's more about like other people who get into it. Just know it takes a while to get there, but if the chat's slow, you have nothing to bounce off. So Ruben Garrick here from the left-hand side, he should get this. 73% of the season, but he should get this, and he will get the kick. So Manly take the lead, 12-10. 32 minutes to go of the game. Right now, Manly are equal 8th with the Dolphins, if this game was to stay the same way. But no matter what, they will not be in the 8 this week. No matter what. But they would just... Again, I would say that their best result would be Roosters beating the Dolphins because it brings the Dolphins back with them, and their points differential, despite being much better than theirs, is a lot less important for mine right now than... Yeah, I would very much suggest that Manly would want the Dolphins to lose tomorrow. All right, so Manly now bring this ball out to the 15. That's going to be a good game, though. I can't wait to stream that game tomorrow. Brenton 10 says you could sell ice to the Eskimos. Get me onto it. Get me on. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's take a trip to. Let's take a trip to the dog sledding thing in Canada. When we did our like 101 bucket list sporting events to do before we die, whatever, which we did years ago. I should do a rehash of that, but we did that, and there was like a dog sledding race that you can participate in northern Canada, in like the absolute middle of Timbuktu nowhere. That would be so cool to do, man. And then we can sell some ice to Eskimos there. Fifth tackle at the 40 for the Manly. Vancouver Tropica says, what's the most Aussie name here? Shano, Brycey, or Daz? Shano's pretty Aussie larrikin. Like, that's full-on Aussie. Shano. Brycey, not so much. Daz is pretty full-on, but Shano's got to be, out of those 3 options you've given me, Shano's got to be the most Aussie name there. And it's funny, being in Vietnam, second tackle here for the Raiders at the 20. 30 minutes to go of the game here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Only a 2-point game. Manly saving themselves at the moment. But being in Vietnam, it's very funny when you're talking to someone and they're learning English and they think that like UK English or American English is difficult, and then they hear Australian English, and it is so difficult, especially when you're teaching them. Like, just even explaining what mate means in context is so hard to do. That's going to be a penalty against Manly here. Jazz Tavanga, you can't be doing that. He's not squaring, he dived for the ball, so it'll be a penalty to Canberra Raiders at their own 45. But explaining Australian English to people, it's so difficult, and it is very different. Try to explain mate in context, because mate can be used in so many different ways. You can say mate as a good way. You can say mate as a bad way. Does mate mean friend? Does it not mean friend? Try to explain that to someone who doesn't understand Australian English. It's it's difficult, bro. It really is. First tackle here at the 35. I had this conversation last night, and KO Weeks is going to be 35 metres out from the line. Second tackle here for the Raiders. Dazmate says, my name is legit Dazmate. That's first name Daz, last name Mate. FYI, I can't get any more Aussie than that. Shano's pretty Aussie, though, man. Shano's pretty Aussie. Raiders now, they'll be 15 metres away. Sean says Raiders on the fraud alert. Maybe, mate, maybe. But they're not just yet. If they lose this game, then sure. Ethan Strange. Oh, he's been good. That's a try. Ethan Strange for his double. And this is what happened in the first half. Manly scored first in the first 2 minutes of the game. And then Canberra went bang, bang in the 10th and 13th minute to take the lead 10-6 going to half-time. No score for the last 27 minutes of that first half. And in the second half here, the first 10 minutes was dominated by Manly. They score a try to take the lead 12-10. And then Ethan Strange was the one who scored in the first half to take the lead, to tie the game up, for the Raiders. And then he's the first one to score in the second half of the Raiders to take the lead, 14-12. Society Manly season over. Well, shit, lads. Like, what are we doing here? We've got someone saying Raiders on the fraud alert, and now we've got Manly season over. You know we're watching a Manly Raiders game right now. Dear me. Seb's going to get timed out by Daz for sure. I know that's coming. I know that's coming. Seb, you know that Daz is going to slap you there. But this is a very back and forth game. It's been a grind for 27 minutes in that first half. But outside of that, it's been still quite a back and forth game. Laurie says, my Aussie mate Barry Baz called me Loza for years. Barry's pretty Aussie, but can someone tell me a Aussie name that's more Aussie than Shano as a nickname? Because obviously it's going to be Shane, but you call him Shano. What is a more Aussie name than Shano? President, we'll get the sled out of the shed. Mate, I'm up for it. I'm up for it. First Australian, no, maybe not first Australian, but first Titans fan. I'll wear a Titans jersey there. Jay says, never go long distance dog sledding. Dog shitting during the trip ain't pretty. Jay, why do you even think about this? If I'm in the middle of Timbuktu, Canada, on a dog sled, marathon, and the beauty, I know it's freezing cold, one sec, the 16-12 of the Raiders, they will get the kick, 28 minutes to go. It's freezing, but it's beautiful, it's an awesome experience. I'm not thinking the dogs are shitting right now. I'm not thinking about the dogs shitting in front. Why do you think like this, Jay? Like, where is this coming to your noggin here? Dearie me. Laurie says, mate means die in Tongan. Mate means die in Tongan? So mate ma Tonga means... Oh, does mate ma Tonga mean die for Tonga? Is that what it means? That's the name of the rugby league team. So 16-12 to the Raiders with 28 minutes to go. Is that what it means? I wouldn't know. So you'd have to say. You'd have to let me know. Is that what it means? Mate means die. So I'm assuming it means die for Tonga. Mate ma Tonga. Cryptic says need a quad emoji in the chat. Please make it happen. Cryptic, we tried to ask in the last game. Tried to ask, is that how you pronounce it? Am I doing okay with the pronunciation? Because I just don't want to be like Braithen Astor who said call. Quad. Is that it? I don't know why I'm doing this. It's like this, isn't it? I think it's like that. 4 tackle. And they're at the 35. Because I would have had no idea what that was until last week. 900% of people who... I don't even know I said 900%, but 100% of people who aren't Arabic would have no idea of what that was until last week. I didn't even notice it during the game. I thought they were just celebrating to the crowd. All right, so Manly will bring this ball out here to the 20. Disagree, Brenton, for your sake. You need to beat those bunnies tomorrow. Your sake, you want the bunnies to win, and it's also Sunday, mind you. So a couple of schmozzles there. But you would rather the bunnies win because that would mean that, sure, they've got to buy and probably go above you, but you'd be in 16th. If the Titans win, we go above you. If the Eels win, they go above you. But also, don't forget that if the Titans will go above you on points differential, we'll both be on 18 points. However, the Rabbitohs have a bye, so they will be on 18 points as well. So you actually would prefer the Rabbitohs to win because we don't have a bye. If we lose every game from here on out, we get the spoon. But if we win tomorrow, we're equal with you, but we're above you on points differential, and the Rabbitohs will have a bye to also potentially go above you later on. Do you understand what I'm saying? You would actually prefer the Rabbitohs to win, in my opinion. All right, so the Raiders now, first tackle, will be at their own 20. Their own 20. Paul says Bluey. Bluey's pretty Aussie. I still say Shano, but Gaz is pretty good. Robbo. Yeah, Robbo's pretty on it. Moe is a more Aussie name. No, Moe is... What? Moe? Moe is a more Aussie name. No. No way. You're putting Moe in the same breath as Gaz and Shano and Dazza and Shazza? Now, Shaz is up there. No one said Shazza. Short version of Sharon. Oh my gosh, how did you guys skip that one? Shazza is the peak ultimate Aussie women's name. Oh, here we go. Raiders left-hand side here, the 25, the 20, and they get back to Ethan Strange, and Ethan Strange is going to score again. Ethan Strange is going to get a hat-trick here and score again. It is 20-12 with the kit to come, and this is the Raiders. They are a second-half team. They did this to the Knights a couple of weeks ago where they were down 18-12 at half-time, and now then they won the game 44-12, I think it was, and in this game, they were close in the first half with Manly 10-6, and then went down 12-10 in the first couple of minutes of the second half, but now they've scored a couple of tries, and this is the exact same way the first half happened right now. Exact same way the first half happened. And Raiders will take a 20-12 lead with the kit to come, and Ethan Strange with a hattie hat-trick. Hattie hat-trick. Society says, do you think Penrith could win the comp if they don't make the top 4? I think anyone in the top 8 could win the comp on their day. Anyone in the top 8. This is not a guarantee. Great offload there. Flick back on inside from Jed Stewart. Great flick back on inside. Crippy says, yeah, you said it right, bro, but you're cultured. You've probably copped a bunch of quads back in your days on Belmore Hill. Belmore wasn't that bad. A core was bad for Dogs fans. Belmore, I did actually had some really nice Bulldogs fans come up to me. And we lost that game 32-0 to the Bulldogs at Belmore, but I didn't have any bad instance at the Bulldogs game there. I actually wanted you guys to come up and give me... I can't remember how much it was, like $50 or something like that. And I was like, no, it's okay, man. Like, I don't need you to give me any money or anything like that. But, like, he really wanted to give it to me, which was really nice. You know, it's not about the money. It was just about the thought process that a random Bulldogs fan who said he watched the streams came up to me and just randomly gave me $50 cash, because that just, doesn't really happen. And, like, obviously I feel awkward because it's not what I do this for, like, at all. But it was really cool because I was nervous back on Belmore. I was nervous after that core incident that I was going to get absolutely slaughtered by fans there. But, again, it wasn't the case. So, no, Belmore wasn't too bad, but a core was. So, 22-12 here to Canberra with 24 minutes to go here at the game. Mitchell says you should pronounce it like Braith. I'm not going to say core. That's how he said it or whatever. Besides, maybe Western Sydney Mulvey's up there. Yeah, but, okay. Do I need to reply to that? Western Sydney Mulvey is up there. Yeah, okay. Okay. I'll leave it at that, mate. Sean says, Jay, hopefully gets snap frozen, if not very interesting mental picture. Oh, what did Jay say? Jay says, are you talking about the dog shit from the, what are you, I don't know what you're talking about. Brent says, I was in a corporate box with unlimited drinks, so I didn't watch much of our game, but yeah, you would prefer, I believe, the Rabbitohs to win, because, again, they've got to buy, and yes, they will ultimately go above you, but it still means the Titans would have to win one of their remaining 4 games after this week. Josh Papali'i with a huge run back at Jay Trbojevic, and Jay Trbojevic is out here. Well, he's not out, but he doesn't know where he is. Jay Trbojevic does not know where he is right now. He's going to have to come off for 15 minutes, and I don't know if he's going to come back here. That was a really solid contact with him and Josh Papali'i. Oh, yes, shoulder directly into Trebojevic's head. That's unfortunate there. That's unfortunate. That will be the last we see of Jake tonight, I reckon. And Nikhil says, getting sad for Manly already. It's not looking good for Manly now. They've given it a solid crack in this first 50, 55, but the Raiders just know how to put you away in the second half, man. That's what they do. Besides that Dragons game last week, they just know how to put you away in the second half, dude. Brent the 10 says, the word pool in Australia is magical. Yeah, see, there you go. Like, how do they say it in America? They go like pool. No. Pool? How do they say it in America? Like pool. It's different to how we say it. I'm going to go down to the pool. But we say pool. Like P-U-L-E. So I'm saying, when you come internationally like me, Vietnam, Thailand, and India and whatnot, talking in Australian English, people find it very difficult. We obviously understand it, but which is obvious. But Raiders fit tackler at the 45 on the Manly side of the field. Australian English is very difficult for people overseas. I would say it's probably the most difficult version of English. And Manly now at the 15. And Jason Saab will get this ball to the 25. And then there's also the difference, and this is what I was speaking to a friend of mine last night about here, and I said there's also a very big difference between city accent in Australia, which is pretty much all the cities, and outback accent. Like if you go to Mount Isa, I guarantee you a lot of people will understand what they're saying, but it'll be still difficult-ish for us, comparatively to like if you go to the Gold Coast or Sydney or Brisbane, where the accent is pretty much the same. All right, so JJ Boyovich has failed his HIA already, so he will not be back today. They go right-hand side to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans off to Tom Trbojevic, and Tom Trbojevic heads back onto the inside, and he's going to be 20 metres out from the line. Fit tackle. That's actually mad how you remember the score lines to a T. I don't know how you do it. Well, I just got that sport mind, man. It's my party trick. And I could do that with majority of sports. Majority of sports. The only one I'll probably have a little bit of a hiccup on is NHL hockey. But I still have a good conversation with anyone about it. So, second tackle for the Raiders, their own 10. Now third tackle, and they're still only about 13 metres out from their own line. 21 and a half minutes, Manly. You are in a bit of trouble in regards to your ladder. You may not make the top 8. You may not make the top 8 here. If you lose this, you really want the Roosters to win against the Dolphins tomorrow. Size is always damps your mood when you see someone like Jakey get wobbled. Absolutely. Jake's a very nice guy. All right, Manly grab this ball at the 15. It's going to be Jason Saab who runs it to the 25, to the 30-odd or so. First tackle. Chris says, nah, brother, Irish would be most difficult. Ever see Brad Pitt and Snatch? You need subtitles. I would say Irish can be difficult, but I don't think it's the worst one of the UK. I think Scottish, like a heavy, thick Scottish accent, is probably harder than Irish. A heavy Scottish. Like, Scousers are difficult. But like a heavy Scottish accent can be very difficult. So third tackle, Jazz Tavunga gives it off here to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks at the back to Totaquola, and that's good defense there from the Raiders. They've won this game if they win this game on defense. It's been really superb all night. Jake Simpkin taking out the 45. 20 minutes to go in the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 20 minutes to go. I just don't know if Manly have it in them to come back from this now. It's the same thing in the first half as the second half. Manly score first. Raiders score 2 times very quickly. Then the second half, Manly score first. Raiders score 2 times very quickly. Laurie says, can't forget Chopper. Matt Oddsport TV says, we don't say, how are you going? Us Aussies say, how you going? Yeah, how's it going? I don't even say, hey. I say, how's it going? What's going on? I actually do say, what's going on? I'll probably say, what's going on the most. What's going on? Oh, knock on from the Raiders at the 30. Okay, Manly chance. You've been down here a ridiculous amount. They've done nothing with it. But here's a chance for you, Manly. Chance for you. 19 and a half minutes to go. Your season nearly on the line. Dolphins win tomorrow. I don't have you making the 8, and I don't have the Roosters making it either. I just couldn't see it. I just couldn't see it. But Manly, here you go. Here you go. Can you get it done? Can you finally score in the attack on 20? You've been down here a ridiculous amount. A ridiculous amount. So second tackle, 15 metres out from the line. Lost time, said Manly, so shit. Luke Brooks off to Jazz Tavunga. Jazz Tavunga now, he'll be 5 metres out from the line. 5 metres out. Drunk Irish accent is the worst accent. Yeah, that's pretty rough, yeah. So Size, what was the scoreline when Geelong beat 22 grand final? It was about 80 odd, 52. I think it was like 132, 52 or something like that. 133, 52. Geelong. And kick it up here. Raiders knock it on. This is going to be a 6 again for Manly. No, it's going to be a penalty to Canberra because he was holding it without the ball. Correct call from the referee. This will be penalty to Canberra. Penalty to Canberra. And that is a rough one for Manly. Glasgow accent is practically impossible to understand. Yeah, dude, Scottish is out of this world when it's like thick. Does anyone here find a Scottish accent attractive? I heard that Scottish is is actually quite high on people finding it attractive. I don't. Like, I think it's cool. I don't have a problem with it, but it's just like, women-wise, I don't find a Scottish accent amazingly appealing. Cryptic says, I want to test this party trick. What was the result of... I'm not even going to... No, I know exactly what game you're referring to. I'm not even going to talk to you. Second tackle, we did win, but like I'm not... I don't even need to... Mitchell timed him out because he knew exactly what game it was too and what result it was too. 8-6, by the way. So third tackle. I knew Mitchell was probably going to do that. Yeah, enjoy the next 10 seconds. Mitchell has timed him over 10 seconds. He's talking about one of the worst games of all time, but we did still win that game, Mitchell, and don't ever forget it. So fifth tackle here for Canberra at the 35, and they're going to go to the left-hand side. And now the Raiders will be taken down here at the 30 on fifth tackle. Did you find Margot Robbie's accent in Wolf of Wall Street attractive? It was not when she was angry. Tom Dvojevic at the 30, at the 15. Yeah, like at some points, some points, but not overall. Crippy says, I swear I just chose a random team. Why did I get timed out? Because Mitchell's a Tigers fan, and everyone would have known that was the 8-6 result at Seaver Super Stadium, where I think it was Brimo who scored in the 78th minute when the ball just bounced around the in goal. So take that one for party trick. So it's going to be Garrett goes right-hand side to Ethan Bullimore, and Ethan Bullimore is going to be at the 35. Fourth tackle, Jake Simpkin to Jazz Tavanga. Tavanga could have been intercepted. Is intercepted. Raiders win the game. Sebastian Chris will score a try to the post. And Manly, I don't know if he made the 8 this year, ladies and gentlemen. It could have been intercepted, wasn't intercepted, and instead Sebastian Chris will then get the ball off the ground and run for a try to the post. And there's Simon, the Raiders trying to get around him. 26-12 with a kick to come. And Manly, unfortunately, your season is coming to guts. It is coming guts, son. Jazz Tavanga throws the ball. Strange didn't realise the ball could have been intercepted, but don't worry, because Sebastian Chris did it himself. Brent says, Manly done. Manly done. See, look at what you guys do when you force me to go with the gut. You know? This is what happens when you force me to go with the gut. Huh? Deary me, I told you I tipped the Raiders for my head. Told you. I told you. Cripper says you're actually a genius. Yeah, well, you want a genius play? Tell me that I want you to tell me the result of the Titans versus Storm in a doubleheader with Broncos and Manly in 2017. Because I can tell you that if you feed the Don, he will score. How about that? How about that for a party trick? No, you're a Melbourne Storm fan. How about that for a party trick? Because if you feed the Don, he will score. It's Connie Rell, by the way. Society says, but Connie Rell was the one who flicked the ball back. So the only team outside the 8 with any chance of the Chooks. Yeah, but they have to beat the Dolphins tomorrow. If the Dolphins beat the Roosters tomorrow, the 8's locked up for mine. And again, Manly there is still like a chance. There is still a chance, but I highly doubt it. Like, what's Manly's run home? They're going to be... Well, Manly need the Roosters to win tomorrow now. But Manly's run home, they play the Tigers next week, which you would back in for a win. Broncos fans, you're loving this result, by the way. But Manly, I'd say they beat the Tigers. They then play the Dolphins. I probably will have the Dolphins to beat them. But I could see Manly getting up for that at Brookie. And then Manly will play the Dragons. I'd probably back in Manly for that, but that's a tricky game at Wollongong. And then Manly play the Warriors. Very beatable team right now, but it's very tough, man. You know, it's very tough. They've got some very tricky games. You know, it's funny how they go down to Melbourne and beat Melbourne, but then they go and struggle like they have been over the last couple of weeks. Crippy says, I actually can't help you there because I struggle to remember how much we won last week. I don't know how you do it. It's crazy. Do you make it a mission to remember, or does it just come to you? It just comes to me, man. I just have a sport brain. You know, it actually is a party trick because, like, when you're out having a few drinks, meeting people, and it's a language for me, right? So second tackle for Canberra at the 20, it actually is a language because if you meet someone that you don't know anywhere and they're from America, well, guess what? They might be an NFL fan, so you can conversate with them about NFL. They could be able to talk to you about rugby league, so you can talk to them and actually get to know them through the mutual understanding of the sport they watch. If they don't follow the NFL, they might be a baseball fan, they might be a basketball fan, they might be a hockey fan, and I can conversate about all four of those to a T. And the same thing goes if you are in England or in Europe and football fan. I can talk the talk for ages about whatever league you want, Premier League, La Liga, maybe not so much League One, but I've still got a good understanding, Bundesliga, all the likes. And you can talk about a whole bunch of different things. So you have that connection with someone from Europe or even South America. And that's going to be knocked on here from Canberra, I think. I think this is a knock on from Canberra. They're playing it on right now. Yeah, it's a knock on from Canberra. So Manly get the ball here at the 10. And the same thing goes like when I went to India, right? So because they're into cricket, Pakistan and Bangladesh and all these places, they're into cricket, so you can talk to them about cricket. It's a global language. You go to New Zealand, yeah, you can talk about rugby league, but rugby union, massive, or Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, like you can talk about rugby union. It's a way to connect with people in different cultures without knowing their culture and having that in with a connection. Do you understand? Sean James says, I love the sport because we're good at it. 100%. Second tackle now for Manly, and they're at the 25. 13 minutes to go here, probably of their season. So, sides, if Broncos somehow don't make it, I don't know if it's more laughable than their 2022 choke. Nah, 2022 was their worst. They were like top 4. They were like top 2 at one stage. I think they might have even been in the top of the table at one stage and then just fell apart with like 4 weeks to go. Manly and Dolphins play each other too. They do. That's why Manly, this was a very important game for them. Like, anything can happen, man. There's still 4 games left in the season, but they would prefer the Roosters to beat Dolphins tomorrow for sure. All right, Tolutau Kuala, he'll be fit tackle at the 45. Don't you just love playing home away from home? What? Don't you just love playing home away from home? I don't know what you're talking about. And Raiders will get this ball here at the 13. Okay, Weeks. Grab down. And Nikhil says, and when he goes to Fiji, he knows about the 7s. Yeah, of course. 7s is growing pretty good in the USA. The 7s is growing in the USA as well. So that's going to be a penalty against Manly. So the Raiders at the 30, and Xavier Savage is grabbing at his ankle there. I hope he's all right. God bless him. So Sizer, has it got you any girls' numbers with it? With what? With sport talk? You think if you were going to try and talk to a girl or pick up a girl, that you're going to do it with sport talk? Really? I want you to go and do that. You know what? I give you some homework for the weekend, mate. It's the weekend right now. I want you, after our stream's finished, I want you to go out to a bar or a nightclub or anywhere, maybe a restaurant or somewhere, and just see an attractive girl. I want you to go up to her and I want you to try and talk to her about this game here, the Raiders-Manly game, and see what her thoughts were of it. See how far that gets you. See how far that gets you. She'll probably call the police on you within about 5 seconds. So first tackler at the halfway point. And it'll be Corey Horsburgh to Joe Tarpany. And if they do know the sport, they'll just tell you, oh, I find Jordan Ricky so attractive. That's your conversation with them. Second tackler at the 40. That's on everyone. If you meet Olivia out, she's got a partner, but like you meet Olivia out, then she's going to be able to talk to you about NRL and whatnot, but that's a very like 0.5% of... It's a very small percentage. Matt's Ozsport TV says, sounds like a marriage in the making right there. Well, I guess if you go to Thailand and talk about like Muay Thai and professional fighting and stuff, maybe, but they don't care about your sport. They just care about money. They don't care. They'll listen to you. They'll pretend they're listening to you in Thailand, but they don't care about your sport. They don't care actually even that you're speaking. So first tackle here for the Raiders at the 15. 10 minutes to go here of the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. I'm going to call Blaze Rainman from now on. He may as well. That's going to be a knock on from Manly. So it's going to be 6 again here for the Raiders. 15 metres out from the line. 15 metres out. So unfortunately, we've seen 3 favourites win this weekend, and both by pretty convincing results. Storm, convincing result against the Broncos. Context applied. And then Panthers, convincing result against the Knights, and Raiders, convincing result against Manly. You probably should expect this a lot more in the back end of the year as teams are really at the top of the table trying to, lock down on getting some momentum. Boom Boom Lady on the bike, loves sports talk. I know she loves it. She doesn't understand what you're saying, but she's nodding along. She's definitely nodding along. So that's going to be Raiders. I think he lost that ball there. Nope. 13 metres out from the line. First tackle. They go to the left to Joe Tarpany. Don't forget, guys, we've got 3 games tomorrow we'll be live for. Dragons, Sharks earlier on. Then we've got the Dolphins, Roosters, and Bulldogs, Warriors. 3 massive games tomorrow, actually. Massive games. Jamal Fogarty, third tackle, will be 5 metres out from the line. Third tackle. And give it to Corey Horsburgh. Horsburgh is going to be 4 metres away from the line, 4 tackle. This would officially call it quits for Manly if the Raiders score now. Out to Jamal Fogarty, then to Arthur Mariota. No, Simi Sasangi, sorry, and he's 5 metres away from the line. And they'll kick it through, and that's going to be a 7 tackle set for Manly coming up. Sports Zone said, I don't think I got a second date with this chick, but at least she knew more about 2018 Luke Brooks. You know, you're teaching her the real shit. You know, you're really teaching her the real shit. That's the way to go, mate. Talk about West Tigers history. You know, if you want to impress a woman on a date, to make sure you get a second date, what you do is talk about West Tigers history. That was a really good play from you, Sports Zone. Really impressive. West Tigers history. Now, that's something special. Different usage of that word, but still applies. Sean says, Brenton, you could talk about the weather, mate. You could talk about quite literally anything. So 3rd tackle, the nod is hella awkward. Yeah, but again, it's it's just what happens. Sherry Evans out to Waddle, then to Tommy Talau, and he's going to be at the 35. 4th tackle. You need to score right now, Manly, if you want any chance of saving your bacon this season. Otherwise, you are a massive Roosters fan tomorrow. Luke Brooks, short ball, and Aaron Shupmeister, 5th tackle at 20. Might talk about Milford's Prime next time. Hey, listen, at least with Milford's Prime, you've got a grand final to talk about. Sherry Evans into the corner, knocked back from Manly, and Raiders get it, and Sebastian Chris is away here. At the 20, 25, 30, Xavier KO Weeks. KO Weeks puts the afterburners on, and he's at the 35, the 30, back to Sebastian Chris, and he's at the 25. If you get up quickly and you pass this ball right, you score. And they go right-hand side to Hudson Young. Hudson Young back onto the inside. I don't know why they went short side, but sure. And it's going to be a knock-on here from Canberra Raiders. Oh, 4 pass, sorry. 4 pass, so Manly get the ball at 20. Definitely can't go wrong with Prime Milford. Mate, it is always Milford's fault, though, to be fair. It really is. If you want something to impress your date, lads, I think what you have to do is talk about Anthony Don. You know, because there are times in history where a man really encapsulates society, really encapsulates the world and what we have as what the world means and what life means. And if there was ever anyone that could come into that conversational point where you just think, shit, that man was the man. That was the man. Out of all the men, that was the man. It was Anthony Don. It was Anthony Don. So Jazz Savonga now will bring this ball to the 30. And 2nd tackle for Manly. And it's a penalty. Talk about volleyball. Yeah, you could talk about volleyball. You can do that in most island countries too. Like Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Cook Islands. Oh! Corey Horsburgh trying to have a bit of a scrap here. Throw an uppercut, you cat. Oh, Matt Lodge and Corey Horsburgh going at it. Someone throw an elbow. Get a bit of the elbow going. Jaden says, who's going to win the wooden spoon? Probably, I think the Knights. But, you know, Titans, Rabbitohs, Knights, Cowboys, Dragons, and Eels are all a chance. But I think the Knights will get it. Yeah, throw some hands. Throw some handbags. Talk about Stephen Bradley. Is it Bradley? Stephen Bradbury, sorry. Now, that's the moment of all time, mate. It's the second best moment in Australian history besides when Anthony Don scored against the Melbourne Storm in 2017, yeah. Second best moment in history. Throw your toupee, Lodge. It was actually Jazz Savunga and Horsburgh having a crack at each other there. I think, like, I like the Raiders, and I actually don't mind Canberra. I would like to see them win this year, but it would annoy me to see Corey Horsburgh as happy as he will be. Prime Milf versus Prime Carney. Oh, that's a good question. Prime Anthony Milford versus Prime Todd Carney. Well, one piece in his mouth at the at Northies in Cronulla, and the other wanted to fight my mate at Suncorp after the Anthony Mundine fight. That's Jeff Horn. Geez, that's actually a really good question. What do you guys think in the chat? And this is like a legitimate question. Prime Todd Carney or Prime Anthony Milford? I'm probably still going to take Prime Todd Carney, but Anthony Milford that 1 year. I think Todd Carney was better over his career, but Anthony Milford probably on that one individual season was incredible. Luke Brooks, He'll kick that ball across to the corner here for Ruben Garrick. Last chance season. Oh, good take. Very good grab there from Xavier Savage at the 3. I think I'd take Prime Todd Carney over the 2. Prime Milf versus Prime Carney versus Prime Grub Reynolds. Oh no, I'm taking Carney and I'm taking Milf over Josh Reynolds. But Josh Reynolds was good too, but like I'm still taking the other 2. Milford 2015 and 2016 unstoppable. Maybe not 2016, but 2015 for sure. 2016 is still pretty good. Brenton says Pierce humped the dog. He's in the race. Yeah, not really the point of the question, but sure we can add him in. I don't know. I'm vibing a bit of Todd Carney Prime. I am. I think Mitchell Pearce has probably more accolades to his name though over the history. Actually, he would have more accolades. Todd Carney never won a comp, did he? I know he was in the grand final in 2010. Oh, that's a hard kick to take. That's going to end up being a 7-tackle set. No, it's not. That's a beautiful kick there from Canberra. And Manly now going to come out of their own 10. Ruben Garrick, the bubbler. Get around the bubbler. Todd Carney, the Sharks? No. No, that was Ben Barber fullback. Mick Anderson, the 9. Chad Townsend in the 7. And oh, man, can't think of his name. James Maloney. In the 6. No, that wasn't Todd Carney. Bigger question is 2009 Hayne versus 2012 Barber versus 2021 Turbo. I'm going to tell you it's going to be Hayne in 2009. I'm going to go Hayne 2009. You're going to hate it. I might say Turbo 2021, Barber 2012. But like Barber's 2012 season was incredible. But I do have to go Hayne. He took a team that was literally in last with like 8 rounds to go into the grand final and only lost to a team that was cheating the salary cap. I've got to go Jared Hayne. And, nice work there from Xavier Savage. This has been a really clean performance by Canberra, mind you. Like, Canberra fans, you should be very proud of this performance. Not only are you going to win 13 plus, but you've also had a very clean performance where your defense has been immaculate. Your attack has been stuttery, but with that being said, for the most part, your attack has been pretty good to get to 28 points. Manly's defense isn't awful. But Manly's defense is actually better than the Raiders' defense long-term season-wise statistically. But I think this has been a very clean performance from Raiders, and it's been good to see them step up after a loss last week to the Dragons. So Captain Shallon cheer from the Raiders after a knock-on. 2.5 minutes to go here in the game. Cryptic with the $8 redo donation says, Hod. Get around it. Lagan, appreciate you for the dono, Cryptic. Matt's on Sport TV says, the real question is Tanner Boyd versus Toby Sexton. I'm not answering the question. Lagan says, just say you hate the Dogs, mate. Well, I asked the chat. I'm giving you my honest opinion. If you're putting a draft in front of me, right, and let's assume it's for my team, right, and you're saying that I'm going to guaranteed get the season of 2009 Jared Hayne, or I'm going to guarantee get the season of 2012 Ben Barber, or I'm going to guarantee get the season of 2021 Tom Turbo, I think I am taking Jared Hayne first, and then I think I am taking Tommy Turbo second, and then I think I am taking Ben Barber third. That doesn't mean I think that Ben Barber's season wasn't absolutely insane, but I do think that Jared Hayne and Tom Turbo individually, I would take them two over Ben Barber's 2012 season. If people disagree with me, please rank yours. Rank yours in the chat right now. Hayne 2009, 2012 Ben Barber, or 2021 Turbo. And if you want to add in James Tedesco 2019, you can. But I think accolades-wise, he actually probably comes first. But like overall, you'd probably put him maybe fourth on hype. Saab now be taken down to the 13. Nichols is agreeing in the same order. Sizes, remember that Turbo 100-meter try against Cowboys? Yep, yeah, I remember that. Well, if you want to be pedantic about it, 98-meter try. Fit tackle. Yeah, I can still remember him slowing up right at the very end and then stepping back to the left-hand side to score the try. Knock on Chezza. Knock on Cherry Evans. Mitchell says 2021 Dane Laurie, 2022-23 Jareen Baller, and 2016 Moses. Yep, and that, my friends, is a cue for this game to hurry up so that we can end the stream, because that is the most disgraceful comment I've ever seen. Cryptic says, is this post the offenses? Because if it is, I'll put Barber at 1. What? You either take 2012 Ben Barber. There's no... What? There's 2012 Ben Barber. There's 2009 Hayne. There's 2021 Tom Topolovic. It's very simple. It's a very simple question, but it's a very difficult answer. And then we've got Matt Dufty coming into the chat. 2022 Matt Dufty. Then we've got someone saying Dane Laurie 2021. Dane Laurie, Dream Baller, and then Moses. And then we've got another Muppet saying Matt Duffy 2022. Matt Duffy. That'll do me. So Rays have a bye next week, which is huge for them. They go back into the top of the table, by the way. And then they play the Panthers, the Tigers, and the Dolphins. Very difficult games with the Panthers and the Dolphins. They'll like that. And then that Tigers game is a bit tricky. Seagulls run home. Tigers, Dolphins, Dragons, Warriors. I don't know if their season is alive unless the Roosters beat the Dolphins tomorrow. Shannon says, good games. Come on, doggies. Do me a favour and smash the Warriors up the Raiders Nation. As a Raiders fan, I don't think you should care to... Oh, yeah, sure. Actually, no. Yeah, you're right. No, sorry, my bad. You should care about Warriors beating the Dogs. And Manly get the ball here at the 10. Nah, Lagan, we're going to see you tomorrow because I know exactly what happened that season with him, and I know what you're referring to, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, Lagan. We will see you tomorrow, son. We'll be seeing you tomorrow, buddy. Second tackle here at the 10. 3 seconds to go here in the game. Mitch says, you're right. What an idiot I am. 2025 Tour of Achilles. Deary me. Well, Canberra fans, you should stand up and be proud of that one. That was a very, very good result for the Raiders. Look, Manly might not be the best team that has ever existed, but at the end of the day, that was a very clean performance there against a Manly team that was trying to fight for survival. They really rely on the Roosters winning tomorrow, in my personal opinion. Manly will stay in 10th position. Tigers can equal them with a win. They have the bye this week, so they're actually 2 points behind. My bad, I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know. I think with Manly, you just need to rely on too much here. You need to obviously the Roosters to beat the Dolphins, so that it's 26 points each. That means the Roosters are still 2 points above you. Your points differential is now with this you lose 16, so your points differential goes from +6 to -10. You're on 24. Dolphins are on +171, Roosters are on +20. Roosters win, it's 26 points each, but then you need to win at least one more game than however many the Dolphins and Roosters do. You need to long story short, your season's pretty much done, but there's a mathematical chance for sure with 4 games to go, but it's very tough. Luckily, you play the Tigers next week. And then for the Raiders, like I said, they go into first position, so they will finish off the round in first. If the Bulldogs win, they'll go to stay in third. However, they'll be 2 points short of where the Raiders are. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, congrats, Raiders fans. You are now 16th again. Yeah, you win the game. You drop down to 16th. Storm. What a rocketing performance last night was. It took them from 16th into second. Really impressive performance there, man. Really impressive performance. Sean J says, quality call again tonight, mate, and thank you all. Appreciate you, man. We'll obviously be back tomorrow for 3-game slate, which is the Dragons-Sharks rivalry game. Dragons, their season's pretty much done, but we'll see if they can turn up for a rivalry, local derby. And the Sharks, they are fighting for their top 8 spot. They're in 7th position. That result definitely helps them out greatly, though. And they are fighting for a top 4 spot right now. So the Sharks, that's a big game for them. Dolphins Roosters is the biggest game of the round. Also Bulldogs Warriors. Tomorrow's a massive day. All 3 games are going to be massive games, man. So look, we might start off with a bit of a slower one because the Dragons don't have much to play for. But the Sharks do. Dolphins Roosters definitely do. And Bulldogs Warriors absolutely do as well. So plenty of games on tomorrow that are going to get the juices flowing, son. Juices absolutely flowing. But guys, do me a favour before you go. It's easy to do. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the like button. I appreciate you as always. Obviously, subscribe if you are new around here. And we will see you tomorrow for 3 big old games. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bang. See ya. And don't ever forget that Conrad Harrell flick back to Anthony Don there, cryptic.